How's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Six Nations. Now we've just seen an upset, what could potentially be the upset of the whole competition. The Italians getting themselves the big win over Scotland. Now we have another match to look forward to, England versus Wales. Now when talking about underdogs and talking about upsets of the tournament, there would be probably not much bigger than if the Welsh were able to get themselves a win here at Twickenham. But this English side is stacked, even with the late change. We see Tom Roebuck going out on that right wing rather than Emmanuel Fiwa-Boso. But overall, still a very strong English team. They've stacked their bench, rearing to go for this game. But the Welsh, they will be up for the challenge. And they always, I like to think, have a little chance. It may not be a huge one, but it is at least a chance. Nonetheless, looking through at the starting lineups, first of all for the English, it is Ellis Genge in the front row alongside Jamie George and Joe Hayes. Alex Coles and Ollie Chisholm will make up the locking duo with Guy Pepper, Sam Underhill and Ben Earl as the loose forward trio. So no Maro Itoje in the starting lineup. Instead, he will make his way off the bench. No Tom Curry starting and no Henry Pollock. Instead, both men making their way off of that bench for the English 6-2. In the back line, it is Alex Mitchell alongside George Ford as their 9 and 10 combo. Henry Arundel out on the wing with Fraser Dingwall and Tommy Freeman in the middle. Then Tom Roebuck comes in like I mentioned, and Freddie Stewart, he is there as the number 15. For the Welsh in this lineup, it is Nicky Smith, Dewey Lake and Archie Griffin as the front row. From there, Daff Jenkins and Adam Beard in the locks. Alex Mann, Josh McLeod and Aaron Wainwright, they are the loose forward trio. Thomas Williams and Dan Edwards as the 9-10 combo. Ben Thomas in the midfield alongside Eddie James. And then in the back three, Josh Adams, Ellis Mee, and Lewis Rees-Zammit. This actually, overall, I have to say, it's not a bad-looking Welsh team. It's actually probably one of the better teams that they can put out there on the field based on what is happening currently. But in terms of the odds, they just aren't given much of a chance in this match. And at the moment, the way that the Six Nations table sits, England won't want anything less than a 23-point victory, as at the end of this round, they would love to be sitting in that number one spot just to add a little bit more pressure on the French heading forward. But of course, do let me know who you guys think will be winning this game, and if you think in England, by how much do you think they will be winning this one by? This game is sitting around 20 minutes away from the kickoff, and of course, as soon as it gets underway, we will be firing up the play-by-play commentary of ourselves. Currently sitting on the, I believe we're up to the 11th hour now of streaming for the day. So if I seem slightly tired, it's probably because I am, but I'm still fired up, still excited after what we just saw between Scotland and Italy. I want Wales to start doing better. Miss having them competitive in the Six Nations, says Bacon Form. And England will want to make a statement, says Salah. And does Gregor Townsend go for Scotland? It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because, you know, they did that post-match interview with Sione Tuipulotu, who couldn't actually hear the lady who was doing the questions. But they were trying to kind of ask that narrative of, like, is it really all Townsend's fault, or is it the players who need to take responsibility? And he kind of said that the players, you know, they aren't happy with what's happened in this contest, but they have to try and move on from it. But it's easier said than done, I would say, and they want to bounce back. Next game they have got, it's going to be taken just next week. A quick turnaround in the Six Nations. Gone 20 hours and 20 minutes being awake. Says John there and score for Scotland versus Italy. In the end, the Italians able to win that game 18 points to 15. A narrow victory, but a win nonetheless for the Italians. Both sides scored 2 tries, but Scotland do get themselves the bonus point from that contest. So the first losing bonus point that has been awarded throughout the Six Nations competition. Now, I mentioned about the benches before. For the English, they have got some brilliant options. Luke Cowan-Dickie in the 16, Bevan Rodd and Trevor Davison as the 2 propping replacements. Maro Itoje alongside Tom Curry and Henry Pollock, and then Ben Spencer and Marcus Smith as the 2 back replacements. In terms of this Welsh bench, they have got Liam Belcher as the number 16, Reece Kerr and Thomas Francis as the replacement props, Ben Carter and Tane Plumtree, Harry Deves, I should say, Kieran Hardy and Mason Grady. Currently peeing outside. Well, I guess it's better than peeing inside, isn't it? And well done, Italy, says Roger, and England 38 points to 14 over Wales. 38 to 14. That sounds pretty familiar. Of course, that game between the Irish and the French was 36-14. But it would give the English the number 1 sitting spot in terms of the group. or in terms of just the overall competition. Of course, plenty more games of the Six Nations are to come in the near future, including for these two sides. The next week's game, Wales will be going head-to-head up against the French. That is the Monday morning game for us here in New Zealand, but that will be Sunday night for you guys in the UK. And then in terms of what England have coming up next, they have got their battle up against Scotland. That'll be an intriguing one. Scotland will be hurting after that loss to the Italians. They will want to bounce back. They'll have the English in front of them to try and get through. But of course, either England will be on cloud 9 or they will be also disappointed from this game. Very hard to say. Yeah, it seems safer to say that they won't be disappointed from this game, though. I should clarify, they are heavy favourites for a reason. We have got their England 75 to the Welsh 12 is Blees and T's prediction for this contest. He's going big time. I guess the big question at the moment is, for anyone who wants to put out a prediction, will England reach 50? Because the thing is, it could happen. Depending on how Wales play. If Wales can start the match well, perhaps they can hold on that little bit. They've got a decent side, like I mentioned, out there on the park. They're not terrible at the moment, the Welsh, but they're big underdogs. And that is for a reason. Looking through at what happened in last year's Six Nations, first of all, for this Welsh side, they lost their opening contest up against the French, 43 points to 0. They didn't lose to Italy, so they know that feeling that Scotland are feeling right now. Lost at 22 points to 15 in Italy. They had a close game up against Ireland. That was actually probably one of the better performances we saw from the Welsh throughout the Six Nations, alongside that close game with Scotland the week after, or 2 weeks after, in fact. And then the big win for England up against the Welsh. Now, that was at the Principality. And England still won that game 68 points to 14. For the English, they were able to get a close game up against the Irish, 27 points to 22 in Ireland. They were then able to beat France at Twickenham. The substantialness of that home field advantage for the French later on in the Six Nations competition will probably be the difference between a Six Nations title and missing out. Close game up against the Scottish. Good win over the Italians, and then that massive win over the Welsh as well. So plenty that can happen in the very near future for this Six Nations competition. Once again, looking at the way that the table sits, France is sitting at the top of the bunch with the 5 points after their victory over the Irish. From there, there's also the 4 points now for the Italians. So chance of them finishing last is pretty slim, but it puts pressure on the rest of these sides to be able to get those points too, including Scotland, who were able to get themselves that bonus point from their game up against Italy. They need to scare the French, says Please and Tease, and also go Wales, beat the Poms, says Dirk. And also, I did keep my clothes on and I peed outside, says John. And Pollock for the red card, I assume that is. Although he's going to be making his way off of the bench. So to get the red card, he's probably only maybe going to have 15, 20 minutes to be able to try and get it. But of course, that is more than enough time. We've seen red cards within multiple minutes before. From 6 a.m. this morning. Out my time, you must be tired, you must be exhausted, says Kyle. Yeah, we have been up for not quite 24 hours. We're sitting about 22 hours up at the moment for myself. We have done about 10 and a half hours of streaming as well on the channel. So we are reaching that point how I should be tired, but for some reason I'm still wide awake. I feel like it is because of the fact that the Six Nations is on. I've been thoroughly looking forward to it all day. We've got the Sevens that we're going to be covering on the channel later on today as well. So yeah, plenty of action still just around the corner. But I would say we're not too far away from the coverage picking up here in New Zealand to show us exactly what it looks like at the stadium for this game. It's the home field advantage for England in this contest. But of course, sometimes home field advantage isn't quite enough to get you over the try line. Although in the Six Nations comp, normally home field advantage does bode very nicely for the team. Looking at the odds at the moment, England are sitting as $1.02 favourites compared to Wales, who are sitting at $13 underdogs. So much bigger underdogs than the Italians were. We have got the Hamish. Are you getting more handsome, or is it our new TV effects? Serious cool story. It must be the new TV, surely. But yeah, I think I'm looking pretty rough at the moment. I've got the bags under the eyes big time from staying up for so long. What time is the game, says Mohadeen. The game is kicking off in 13 minutes time. So we aren't a mile away from the kickoff of this contest. So what does the program look like tomorrow in terms of the Sevens, says Kyle. So for the Sevens, 1 second, we go like that. We haven't got a huge amount of games early on in the Sevens. I believe the first one that I am going to be covering on the channel is the women's semi-final between New Zealand and France. So that one is kicking off at 5:13 New Zealand time. So that is 6:13 a.m. for you guys in South Africa. And then after that, we've got a gap where Australia are playing USA. We've got a build-up for the Fiji versus New Zealand semi-final. And then Australia versus South Africa straight afterwards. And then from there, probably another 4 or 5 streams as well along the way, perhaps. Where can I join your live broadcast? You have joined it in the chat at the moment, Mohadeen. And rats and frogs, horses and donkeys. Oh yeah, frogs and rats. What are you going on about, John? I feel like you are also very sleep deprived by the sounds of it. I was going to read the rest of it, but then I realised it was just going all in that same direction as the start. But yeah, also more things are coming up for these two sides, I should mention. The November internationals, as well as July for England. They have got a big match up against the Australians. Now, that could actually happen in the 2027 Rugby World Cup as well. The match up against New Zealand, that could happen in the Rugby World Cup for 2027, and up against Japan in that middle November test match. For the Welsh, they have also got games in November. They are going head-to-head with Japan. They are playing New Zealand, and they are also playing Australia. But international rugby is well and truly back in the very near future, including after the Six Nations competition. We will get to see those North versus South matches. I was watching from early morning, says Mohadeen. There's some crazy stuff going on, says Ruth. And give us your match score prediction. My realistic score for this game, I think, is probably about 45-12. Now, I don't know whether or not anyone has already taken that score prediction. They probably have. But I'm thinking mid-40s to low 10s for the Welsh. Yep, Aussie versus All Blacks decide on who's playing England. We'll be done in round 1. Oh, wait, never mind. Aussie is done. Says John and John Kerwin will be bragging this week about Italy towards the South African mate Victor on their show. Says Nazi Williams. Yeah, it was a fantastic win. And Italy, just from the start of that game, seemed to have that little bit more intent throughout the 80 minutes. Now, second half-wise, it did seem to get better for Scotland when they made their changes, when they brought George Horn on, instant impact. And when we saw even just Darcy Graham being out there seemed to help out under the high ball quite a bit. But Twickenham looks like it is showers at the moment for the weather forecast. 11 degrees Celsius and 10 miles per hour of wind. Decent running rugby conditions, I would say, although I think we will see a bit of an aerial challenge between these two sides as well. It's looking, I want to say, sold out the way that it sits at the moment at Allianz Stadium, as they call it. I still call it Twickenham. I feel like it's just Twickenham to most people at this stage, but only around 8 minutes away from the start of this match. Lewis Rees-Zammit, a lot of pressure on him in that number 15 jersey. The last win for Wales was at the Principality Stadium in the Six Nations back in 2021 up against the English. That was 40 points to 24, but from there, 4 in a row have been won by this English side. Possible upset, not as possible as that Italy versus Scotland game. I would say if Wales somehow won this, it probably counts as the biggest upset of this Six Nations comp. Unless, of course, if Wales beat France or someone like that, that would be regarded as bigger. But in terms of a 4% chance for Wales to win in this game, they aren't given much of a sniff in this match. Morning, Hamish and everyone. Wales by 4, thanks. Says Studs Race. There's no weak team in the rugby world except the Welsh. Enjoy the game. Says Hardest, although looking through at this Welsh lineup, I do have to say it looks better maybe than some people would give it credit for. Like looking through at this back line, I don't mind it. I think it could be worse. I think it's the best way of describing it for the Welsh. But of course, this English lineup, it is stacked. And the fact that they've got so many great players off the bench, if Wales do keep themselves in this game for around 60 minutes, their last 20 minutes will be when we really see England ramp it up and try and make that difference. Hey, bro, what's happening? Come on, Wales, get the fire on, or fire off our dragon inside you. Die up after 12:30 watching you boyos. Come on, do it, please, says David. And England will win, but I just believe Wales will pick up their level from the past 2 years, says Piet. Yeah, like if Wales got mid-20s in terms of the points, I'd say that that's probably a decent effort. And it's been talked about what would be a scoreline that Wales are happy with in this game. Of course, winning would be the ideal scenario, but if they had to look at it from a margin perspective, anything under 20, I think, is a decent game from Wales. But also, I think that England, anything less than a bonus point victory, they'd probably be disappointed with. So they've got a lot of pressure on them to be able to perform here, England, whereas Wales, they are going into this game with a crowd having low expectations that can sometimes just motivate that team behind the scenes a little bit. But both sides are now in the tunnel, just about to make their way out onto the field. I'm curious to see what George Ford does in this contest. We talked about that skill of Jalabert. You've got a bit of a lackluster performance, I have to say, from Finn Russell in that Scottish outing. Then you've also got the Italian 10, Polo Garbisi, overall had a very good game up against the Scots too. Wales will win because nobody is consistent, except maybe South Africa. So yeah, it's called Story Sharks, and we have got there. Do you think the English will follow the Springboks, bring on their own POM squad, says Hardest? I mean, they've got the 6-2 split, so have Wales in this contest. I don't see England absolutely emptying their bench in this contest, though. Clowns versus Wales. So here's David. And we have got their Wales for the upsets. Cut them down to size, says Ruby. Both sides now out there on the field. Ben Earl can be such a dangerous man in the Six Nations. I think that man had an underrated Six Nations last season. A lot of people forgot about the kind of numbers that man was getting throughout the season. Someone like a Blair Kinghorn was also very underrated, I feel, throughout that comp too. But just about to get ready to go for the national anthems. Now, the English national anthem is extremely short, which means that we are close to the start of this contest. I know you see in my comments, stop ignoring me, says John. Well, your last one was read my last chat, and then the chat before that was read my last chat. So you're saying read my last chat a lot. And what is the temperature on the field in these wet conditions? 10 degrees Celsius, which actually probably isn't too bad. But showery conditions, it looks like there are a few raindrops on the lens. So this game, just like the Italian and the French game, will be played in a bit of rain. But it doesn't look as heavy at this stage. How wet is it, Hamish? Wales would prefer the wet. It doesn't look too bad. Just a couple passing showers by the sounds of the weather report. And we have got there be a massive buzz around running on, or actually running on and playing at Twickenham Lucky Blokes. So here's Nazi, yeah, and it does look like it's a sold-out crowd for this fixture, so it would be an absolutely incredible atmosphere. I believe over 80,000 would be in attendance for this match. And they will know that it's a massive, I'd say massive opportunity for some of these Welsh young players. Massive pressure for the English. And again, pressure can sometimes make diamonds, but it can also cause a little bit of disruption in the team. A few handling errors, a few penalties. You're behind Wales. I just know it, bro. Says David, I'm behind hoping that this is a close game. But realistically, my score prediction was 45-12 in favour of England. But if Wales can make this game slightly closer, perfect. Because that way, at least, we've got a little bit of a competitive Welsh side, which I think benefits everyone in the Six Nations. I'm excited to see Thomas Williams in action, though. I still remember what he was able to do for the British and Irish Lions last year before picking up that brutal injury that left him out for pretty much the rest of the year. And come on, Wales upset of the year. Any team is always psyched for the first game of the season, says Roger. The Welsh national anthem being sung at Twickenham Stadium. Once again in the starting lineup, it is Nicky Smith, Dewey Lake and Archie Griffin as the front rowers, Daff Jenkins and Adam Beard in the locking duo with Alex Mann, Josh McLeod and Aaron Wainwright as the number 8. Thomas Williams and Dan Edwards will be the 9-10 combo with Josh Adams, Ben Thomas, Eddie James, Ellis Mee and Lewis Rees-Zammit as the number 15. For the English, they have got some great players off their bench, but still a pretty solid looking start inside. Ellis Genge, Jamie George and Joe Hayes as the front rowers. Alex Coles and Ollie Chisholm in the locking duo with Guy Pepper, Sam Underhill and Ben Earl to close out the fourth back. Alex Mitchell and George Ford. I don't know why, but I feel like George Ford has a decent chance of being able to score in this game. Just something about a gap might open up for the Welsh defence. We did see them concede a lot of tries early on in one of their most recent fixtures. So the best time to score it is early. If you are the English, Henry Arundel, Fraser Dingwall, Tommy Freeman, Roebuck comes into the side. That is rather than Emmanuel Fiwa Boso to get taken out of the side. I believe it was yesterday And then Freddie Stewart, that number 15 jersey. Finest anthem in the world, says Steve. It's really a Wales full decision to make here. Close score, we hopes, says JD. And I've been to Wales, that's why Hamish respects me, says Cool Story. And 29 points to 27 in favour of the Welsh, says Ruth. And the close game, Englishman here, who also hopes Wales come out of the low that they've hit the past 2 seasons and revive their national sport. Definitely with what's been happening with the Ospreys as well, like it's not an easy time for Welsh Rugby Union currently, so they just need a bit of something. Elliot's Alice, says Andy there. Oh yeah, it's got Ellie there, doesn't it? There's always one spelling error in terms of the lineups. Could be his nickname, probably not though. I feel like no one would call him Ellie Ginge to his face unless they want an uppercut. But good job reading. It's always like that little sneaky handling error, spelling error somewhere along the way. Now, I will mention, originally on the lineups, I think it was on the Scottish one, I had a player without a capital letter. So that really annoyed me. So I switched that, but sadly did not swap Ellie Ginge. Ginge is pretty cool, says Andy. I still don't know if he'd like to be called Ellie, though. You'd have to be getting him in a good mood. I want to stick my neck out for the prediction. Halftime, Wales 12-15. Final score, England 36, Wales 21. Says Piet there in the score. And come on the Welsh, our own Orange Blossoms. But yeah, do let me know who you guys think will score the first try of this contest as well. Chance of England scoring more than 5 tries in this match is considered as a relatively high chance. Of course, it's not ideal for the Welsh if that does occur. This match is just about to get underway now. Countdown is on. The Welsh, they will be kicking off this game from left to right. Still a little bit of rain to deal with. I wish for a close one. I can't deny the fact that Wales have been hopeless. Last time they played says so. And Wales, of course, Amish says David for the first try scorer. And Alex Mitchell says Andy. And 2 first row captains. And England 23 is very strong. Definitely the bench. And I have a guy named Ellis, says John. And England's back rows are crazy good, even the ones on the bench. Yeah, and the fact that you can bring Tom Curry as well as Henry Pollock off of the bench, alongside Maro Itoje and Marcus Smith, it's not good news for the Welsh. Like I said, they could be close to 60 minutes and then have that last 20 as when they just have the English running rampant out there on the park. But it's going to be kicked off now from Dan Edwards to get us underway in the third match, round number 1 in the Guinness Six Nations, taken by George Ford inside of his 22 and gives it an almighty hoof. Get it downfield, 40 metres out from the Welsh line. Here comes Lewis Rees-Zammit again. Big run from him. Now Thomas Williams going to the right-hand side. The Welsh need a quick start if they want any chance. Get a national anthem already, geez. Says 3 Nizad. And also we got there George Ford for the first try, says please and tease. Yeah, I don't know why, because normally George Ford doesn't score a lot, but I just have that feeling like he's going to have a try or 2 in this match. But it will be off a support run more than likely, I think, rather than a clean break for George Ford. Currently the English are in possession once more. Alex Mitchell passing it across to the right-hand side, finds the hands of Ben Earl. They are just outside of their 22 currently. And Jenkins to score, says Roof. Now kick downfield again by Ford. Taken by Dan Edwards. Looking to fire this one back once more. And play a little bit of aerial ping pong at the moment between the sides. George Ford, he is inside of the 22. Kicks it into the hands of Lewis Rees-Zammit. His kick is charged down. And now England, they pounce like wolves. Taken by Ben Earl. 30 metres out from the line, but Lewis Rees-Zammit just took a little bit too long to get that kick away. Here comes the run from Joe Hayes, and there is an advantage in favour of the English. Alice Skeens tries to step. Ford being dragged down now. George Ford pops the pass on the inside. Nice tackle made by Wales. They have to continue. Oh, there's a bit of obstruction, so they will go back now for the penalty. Do England want to go aggressive? Or do they want to go for the 3? We're about to find out here. George Ford, this sounds like a kick for 3. Yes, it is. And we'll just take the easy points when they're on offer here. Not underestimating anyone that they go up against here, England. Let's go Wales, 90% effort all this time. Says cited. I wonder in which position Girl Pepper plays. Says Ruby. I'm glad you at least, yeah, I've got guide people. I thought that it was another spelling error like Ellie Ginge. And not sure 3 so soon is the way to go. George Ford, 2.5 minutes into this contest, it will give the English the points. Which I guess, I mean, it's something. It's water in the basement, as they say. Well, that's normally talking about body shots and boxing and UFC, but, you know, you're ticking over that scoreboard. And I'm sorry, I'm not by the stadium to help you out with the crowd noise, says Girl Story. I have a guy named Ellis. I think that's how you spell it. In my Napier Old Boys Maris team, played for a second division side in Wales. Was that the full comment, John? And I'll be happy with 75% says cited. And 3-0 to the English. Curry was a mile offside for that charge down, wasn't he? Is it as soon as you charge it down, everyone gets put back on side? Is that the rule? Or you're talking about, no, you're talking about the guy who actually charged it down, right? He did seem very up in the face of Lewis Rees-Zammit. And now big driving tackle on Rees-Zammit again. He's driven back into his own half. Thomas Williams goes off to the left-hand side, finds the hands of the captain, Dewey Lake. Both captains are in the number 2 jersey for today. Hi there, Kiwi lad. Great to hear you again. Hope you're well. England to win by 12 points, says Mike. This one's kicked high by Thomas Williams. Running on to it. Freddie Stewart. Oh, that's such a hard landing on his back, and he will be winded. He is in a lot of discomfort and pain at the moment here, Freddie Stewart, but the penalty is awarded to the Welsh. No, I mean, he was on the halfway line when Ford kicked from the 22. Says Studs Race. This does not look good for Freddie Stewart. Read the full comment, please. I just did. And I, says Paul. So yeah, I hope you're doing well, Paul. Do let me know your score prediction for this game as well, if you are just now tuning in, ladies and gents. 3-0 at the moment for the English. I've mentioned about how players are allowed to collide in the air as long as they don't try and drag each other down. That's the main thing. But Freddie Stewart does not look like he's feeling the best at the moment. He got fully winded the way that he landed high on the shoulders. He's trying to take a few deep breaths though. Let's see the replay now. Going up for it and such a crunching one. His head kind of snapped back as well. He's probably got very lucky not to hit the back of his head on the turf, but the early penalty goes the way of Wales, and they have opted to go for the corner rather than the 3 points. Looking to be aggressive here early on, this Welsh team. Wales set piece performed well in 2025. They won 6 more penalties, first in the championship, and had a 93.8% line-out success rate. Second in the championship is what they've just popped up on the screen. Let's take there. Oh, penalty goes the way of England. It was obstruction from the Welsh. That was actually Adam Beard going over to the referee, just asking the question of who it was. And we have got very passionate and angry and hairy and ginger, says Cool Story. The ball was taken there, and 2 players actually were in front in that rolling ball. It's something that they've really hunkered down on throughout the last year or so. Sharks are my favourite, says Andy there. Now 45 metres out from their line, Alice Genge. To have the line out, French referee is saying to stay on the mark there for Wales. As Genge gets ready to throw it in, nicely taken by Ollie Chisholm. And we'll move closer to that halfway line. Alex Mitchell being told to use it again by the ref. Looks like box kick could be on the cards now. I'm already cross about this game, says Goal Story. How many drop goals will Ford score today? I'll give him 1. I don't know if he'll go for them like flat out. Oh, another penalty. That is going to be number 3. Penalty against Archie Griffin. This is a kickable 3 now for England, but I do feel like, again, this may be, because it's near the sideline, the chance to kick for the corner, and that is exactly what George Ford will do. The crowd absolutely loving it at the moment, watching this English side play that little bit more of an attacking style. Hamish says, Joe Man, hope you're doing well. Only it is 6 a.m. almost here in New Zealand. We've been going all night. We've got plenty more coming up What's your prediction? 45-12 in favour of England is what I'm going with. Now, going forward, what happened with the Welsh penalty? Obstruction in the line-out, so it did go straight back to England's ball. Being told to use it once now for England. This rolling ball still slowly marching. Bernal going to offload it back to Alex Mitchell. Now short little pop pass up to Tommy Freeman. Wrestled down just short of the try line. Massive chance to get this one moving. Looks like Jamie George is going to drop his head. Have a bit of a crack at it. George Ford calling the shots. Next to the breakdown. Close to getting over. Just 1 metre short once more. Alex Mitchell crossed to Bernal. He will pin his ears back. But again, well dragged down. Oh, bit of a clean out there in the breakdown, but a new penalty advantage against the Welsh, giving it away right out in front of the post. Looked like the quick tap was about to take place for Jamie George. Alice Genge calls for it and says, no, boys, I will take this quick tap, and he will now throw himself at the opposition. Alex Mitchell off to the left-hand side. Trying to bump off there was Guy Pepe. Oh, he's almost rolled over right onto the try line. Now Mitchell goes across. Ford skip pass out wide. And already it's the try for Henry Arundel, the first of perhaps many throughout this game. Where are they playing? Watching here in Poland. They are playing in Twickenham Stadium or in London for this matchup. But the first try of the contest is scored, and it's Harry Arundel who manages to get over for it. And we have got also Wales haven't been themselves for years. I want to see them back and competitive. And England barely trying. They still look very clean. And come on, England says, was Andy there? And for a miracle after the Italian job, says Joe Mann. Yeah, see, the big problem for Wales, though, is they are now down by a decent margin already in this contest, whereas for the Italians, they were able to strike first and get that lead going. Whereas this is the opposite. England are not going to allow the Welsh to take charge of this game. George Ford using up as many seconds as he can on the clock. And does strike that one down the middle. Makes the score after 8 minutes, 10-0 in favour of England. Well, I was so wrong about that first try. Springboks put 73 on Wales. Let's compare, says Roger. And also we have got there as he begun backwards, says Steve. And the weather looks good. Yeah, there was a little bit of rain before the game got underway, but it is only supposed to be showers, which is great news, as it won't be bucketing down like some of the other games that we've had at the Six Nations. Good clear and kick downfield from George Ford. Not much of a penalty move. Do you remember the fabulous days of creative penalty moves, three-man walls, multiple diagonal runners? Apparently not today. Yeah, you get done for obstruction and all sorts in today's game. I think the only team that slightly get away with it is the Barbarians. Although they didn't get away with it last year. They tried to do the ball up the shirt tactic, and they were told that they weren't allowed to. Ball's going to be kicked high by Wales once more. Taken by Henry Arundel under the high ball. Oh dear, this is not looking good for Wales, says Big Rig. Yeah, they certainly need to be the next team to score if they want a decent chance in this game. Ollie Chisholm on the short side. Ball is available. Mitchell's told to use it. Trying to go for the charge down was Adaf Jenkins. Retreating there is Lewis Rees-Zammit. Now goes with a boot of his own. George Ford running this one back, and again we'll go for that kicking battle. He absolutely loves when people try and get into that kicking back and forth with him. There are heaps of obstruction that doesn't get penalised in today's rugby, says Duds Race. And also I'm playing as Wales, says John. I know Mark Taylor at uni. Wales lack a leader of his calibre these days, says Steve. And let's go England, says Dale. Yeah, it just seems like at the moment this Welsh side is just so young, aren't they? You know, you look through at the side, and there was one point where Aaron Wainwright was the most capped, and he didn't even, I think, have 50 at the time. So, it's going to take a little while for them to actually get to that stage of having experienced players. And until then, it is going to be a tough time. For the Welsh, the box kick going up, taken by Lewis Rees-Zammit just outside of his 22. England have 3 men in the breakdown trying to get that steal. Oh, here's Big Alun, says Andy. You see, he probably got out at a good time. Alun Wynne-Jones. Him, Liam Williams was another guy around that same period who did retire. Who else did they lose around that time too? They lost Dan Bigger. One's kicked downfield. Taken well by Freddie Stewart. Goes across to George Ford. Looks like Freddie Stewart has completely recovered from that knock that he took earlier on in the game. Big driving tackle from him on Dan Edwards. And didn't at one point Eben Etzebeth had 75 more caps than Wales' whole starting 15? Yeah. It's just crazy to think how little experience this team does have compared to other sides, but it's just from those big players all getting or ending up leaving at about that same time. Now run 4 from Ben Earl. Referee has given away an advantage now to the English once more. George Ford went to Alice Genge, who has knocked that ball on. So they'll go back for the penalty, and I think they're going to go straight back to the corner here, England. I don't think there's a huge amount of point in them just tapping it around for 3 now. They got the early 3. And now they can just keep on trying to attack. Okay, referee is just telling Wales exactly what the penalty was for. Wales are the most dangerous when they have a young team. Give them another year. Watch them in the Rugby World Cup. Oh. Okay, they're actually opting for the 3 points here, England. That's kind of disappointing. They obviously feel like they've got enough time to be able to still get the bonus points anyway. Oh. Alice Genge actually giving a Welsh player a headbutt there. I think they need to check this. It's nothing too serious, or at least you think that, but we've seen Jasper Wiese get a 6-week ban for that. Right, captain's getting called over. Alice Genge might be in a little bit of trouble here for what he's just done. This is probably going to be a red card to Alice Genge. He didn't make a huge amount of contact. Okay, it's a reverse penalty, but it sounds like it's not going to be anything more than just a penalty. Right, well, that's probably a little bit lucky for Alice Genge. As like I said, we've seen headbutts go to a red. Sign that's a red unless we don't care this week. We don't care this week, apparently, because it's not even a penalty. It's not even a yellow for Alice Genge there. Did you see Scotland versus Italy? What a shock, says Big Rig. Certainly did. To get to cover that game as well. One of the more hectic matches in terms of the finish. About 30 phases or so. Now Dan Edwards will kick this one into touch. Alice Genge just pushed with his head. Says Mike, perhaps Cornwall should be allowed to compete as a 7th historic nation. And Genge slipped the ref a fiver before kickoff, says Big Rig. Now 13 minutes at the moment down in this game. This is the best attacking chance that the Welsh have had in quite some time. And they've lost the line out. Straight back into the hands of England now. Joe Hayes trying to fire this one out the back. I'm told to use it again. Hypocrisy of the calls against South Africa versus the rest of the world. Shows its ugly head again. Says Roger. Was that just a push? Says I'm lost. So it was Alice Genge pretty much just head-butted. Not like he didn't give him one of those, but he did collide with his head. Kind of like that. Not, of course, with his hands, with his head. But yeah, it's the type of thing that we have seen given as a card. But not in this case. Josh Adams from inside of the 22 will kick that ball into touch. Now England. Again, we'll have the line out. I'm just trying to listen. I feel like it might be raining here, even though I said that it wasn't supposed to be raining. Or was it? Actually, no, it was supposed to be raining now. I just remembered because we're currently Sunday morning, aren't we? So yeah, it's supposed to be a little bit of rain. I suggest that's a call against Wales today rather than a team that's not playing this weekend, says Studs Race. Now, going back to the left-hand side for England, using their backline. Here comes George Ford, little pop pass up to Tom Roebuck, who was that late inclusion, rather than Emmanuel Fiwa Bosso, who was going to be starting for this game. As a sign of respect, just like some cultures greet with their foreheads, nothing to it. Says so. Now this one's going to be kicked high by George Ford again. England chasing after it. Looks like maybe a little bit too much depth on that one, and it's taken well by Lewis Rees-Zammit from inside of his 22. Oh, referee said he's not on the mark. Was a very good kick downfield, but now England, of course, will be ready for it. Rees-Zammit just apologising there to the ref for being too far in front. More than likely, the tactic will go from kicking it straight down the middle of the field now to kicking towards the sideline. Didn't actually go for that ball in the end, Fraser Dingwall. He pretty much ran the whole distance, got right into position, and then didn't try and catch it. Now line out here for England. Jamie George with another throw, about 32 metres out. A lot of this game has been played inside of Wales's half, and that is the case, I would say, for the rest of this half as well, unless they can really break the momentum of this English side. Take from Ollie Chesham in the line out now. Jamie George situated at the back of the maul. Been told to use it once by the referee, but this one's still moving forward for the English. And an advantage now against the Welsh for side entry. And the penalty is awarded. Uh-oh. Double blow of the whistle here. This might be a chance of a card already. The silence from the commentators for the headbutt was very loud. Says Melos there. And even between the halfway line, the 22, Ford is still kicking the ball up in the air. Can't imagine the All Blacks in the box throwing away possession in the same position. Says Mike. Although, to be fair, New Zealand in their game up against England, I think, didn't they have more kicks in that Rugby World Cup? No, sorry, they didn't face each other in the Rugby World Cup, but it was the statistic how out of all the teams, I think it was England and New Zealand had the most kicks per game. So I feel like the Kiwis, they did have that tactical change throughout that World Cup where they were really going to the boot a lot. I think they've changed that now. Oh, another advantage. Now Jamie George. Again with another opportunity. Red cards are reserved only for South Africa. Says Joe. Oh, okay. Double blow of the whistle. Now Wales are going to the bin. It has taken 16 and a half minutes. And now they'll card Wales hypocrites, says Roger. Like they've said, it's the worst possible start because not only is this going to be a card, but now you're in that scenario how any little penalty that you give away from inside of the 22. Okay, Dewey Lake is just kind of pleading with the referee saying, listen, mate, we're early on. Yes, but gets 6 weeks. Now it is just a penalty. World Rugby is a joke, says WLK. And yeah, it will certainly be a talking point after this match, no matter what the score is throughout this game. At Nicky Smith, the man who has been penalised there, the accumulation of so many penalties in a row have led to that man getting yellow carded. Wales have not beaten England since the 2015 World Cup. Scary. It was over a decade ago, says Big Rig. Did Henry Bullock win the game? Yeah, he is making his way off the bench in this game alongside Tom Curry and Maro Itoje. But I'd say by the time he's out there on the field, this game's probably going to be won. Now rolling more opportunity here. Oh, dragged down just short. Jamie George. Was it illegal? Referee says advantage. Now Roebuck's going to be held up over the try line. They already had the advantage though. Uh-oh. Double blow of the whistle again. This one was probably more cynical than their last one. Okay, referee's reaching to the pocket again. This is going to become a very ugly game of rugby. Dewey Lake this time is the man sent off the field. England are going to see whether or not they can play 10 players. But Wales now, they have lost their number one and their number two. If this has got a red card without any video proof, says Joe Mann and Justin Well, Italy. I bet Scotland, poor old Wales. Come on, Wales, says Dennis. Wales discipline starting to collapse, says Big Rig. Yeah, see, the thing is, there's a certain extent of it that's discipline, but at the same time, I think it's also just the level of these players up against each other. England know how to win those penalties. They know that the Welsh can't stop them when they get that rolling ball going, and now they call for the scrum. That is quite a tactical move. Adam Beard is asking the question, what do we do now, referee? We don't have a front row. So now I believe they will have to make 2 changes here, the Welsh. Because they will have to bring on a prop and a hooker. So extremely strategic from the English here, as it will mean that they have to sacrifice 2 other players. Arising of the box versus Ireland, says Big Rig. And just have a fist fight like the good old days. And Bucky is Botha. Didn't get a card for his headbutt on Jimmy Cowan, says Ruby. 2 changes now to be made in that Welsh front row. I see Reece Kerr as well as Thomas Francis make their way on. And when the box kept doing scrums to grind Ireland's face into the dirt. This game is turning into a referee show, says Roger. Yeah, not exactly the game that we were after here between these two sides as of yet. Right, so 13's being taken off. That'll be Eddie James. Makes his way off. And Alex Mann has also made his way off. But more than likely what is going to happen here is it's a 7-on-8 scrum. So England are going to win the scrum, get the advantage, and potentially get Wales another man in the bin to take them down to 12. Now, I'd like to think before that happens, England will just score. It's actually the best case scenario for the Welsh at the moment, just to pretty much lie down and let them. Bring on the prop and the hooker. At least space out wide for the overlap, says Mike. I think your 42-25 prediction is too light now, says Ruts. I'm thinking the same thing. It's gone down now in the front. Advantage to England. Waiting for this ball. Alex Mitchell passes it off to the side. Flat attack and run. Now across George Ford. Looking for the cross kick. Henry Arundel gets his second of the contest. And again, I don't think that's the worst result here for Wales. Because if they had more penalties and more scrums, they were probably going with more men in the bin. But it is another try for Henry Arundel. The assist goes to George Ford out wide. I see everyone loves the Irish. Says Dennis, and Paul Wales says Miami Rocker. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough welcome to the Six Nations for this season, isn't it? And try. Says Big Rig. So currently the Welsh, they will be playing with the 2-man disadvantage for the next about maybe 7 minutes. It's probably going to get ugly for Wales. Says Johnny. Yeah, not an enjoyable game so far, says Thuds Race. It's a good cross kick, though, to be fair to them. But, yeah, hasn't been that full entertainment value type of matchup that people were hoping for. But then at the same time, was it ever going to be? Or were we just a bit too optimistic? Now, George Ford does just miss that one away to the right-hand side. So we'll keep the score at 15-0 in favour of England. Henry Arundel has already got himself the 2 tries. Both have been run-ins down the wing. There are plenty in Wales. Hoping that a massive loss leads to a change in the board and maybe fix the Welsh Rugby Union. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one, though, because is it actually going to change it? Or are they just going to be stubborn and go, nah, it's not us that's the problem? But they're already showing Arundel. He's had the 2 tries. He actually had the only 2 tries in this contest. Also, Alice Bench here, butted a dude and no one cares, says Big Rig. That doesn't help, of course, the fact that it did happen just beforehand and Wales didn't really gain anything from it. Now, 20 minutes in, though, Wales, I should say, kicking off long. Straight into the hands of George Ford, who again will put as much distance on this kick as he can. Goes down to Lewis Rees-Zammit, who is just outside of his 22. Now, George Ford calling for a man on his wing, or man on his side. It was Freddie Stewart who joins up, and the penalty goes the way of England again. 7. Not retreating is the comment there from the ref, so that is against Josh McLeod. Okay, they've got the option of the penalty or a scrum at the kick. Okay, they're going to take the scrum here, England. They're going up 30 metres forward, so yeah, Jamie George is saying we're going to 100% take the scrum. Wales missed the days of Phil Bennett and Gareth Edwards. Says Miami Rocker and Springbok 73, Wales 0. The Roses won't put 40 up. Says Roger, and who's the referee? It is Pierre Brousset, the Frenchman in charge of this match. Go like that. I'm so out of touch. No, it's the children who are wrong. Seymour Skinner. I'll be honest, I don't actually know the reference. I'm so annoyed that they didn't get called offside at that charge down earlier. He was off by 30 metres. Yeah, they haven't had the best start to this game, Wales, in terms of decisions going for and against them, but if they can survive this, the game's gone, isn't it? Let's be honest. They aren't going to come back in this one, but they can just get 1 or 2 tries. It would be nice to see. Another big push from England. They get themselves another scrum advantage. Now Alex Mitchell goes in behind George Ford. Now passing one more to the right. That's a terrible pass from Tommy Freeman, but they'll go back for the penalty advantage. 9 penalties conceded within the 20 minutes, says JD. I think Wales should not be in the Six Nations. They're just not cut out for rugby, says D. Jull. Or Degal, it might be, actually. And come on, Wales from South Africa, says Albertus. And also, so if you're Wales, what do you do from here? 15 down, 2 men down. 15 down, 2 men down. Crowd against you, no momentum. What's the strategy? Yeah. You just wait for the 80 minutes, don't you? Penalty count predictions are going Wales 45-7. And come on, Wales from South Africa says a Burtis. And there too. But now the English have got themselves another attacking chance. They have gone for the line-out option here rather than anything else. Now big run forward from Tommy Freeman. It'll be dragged down just short of the try line, only about a metre out. Ellis Genge has a chance to score. No, instead they're going to go across to Jamie George. Tries the spin. He is just short once more. George Ford asking for the ball, but they will go back across to Ellis Genge. He's going to be held up. It's great defence from the Welsh to be able to stop him from scoring. Have you ever seen such a bad pass? Freeman got get your coach, says Mike. And also well done to hold him up, says Johnny. You're close to being able to score it there for Ellis Genge, but still a bit of fight coming from this Welsh team. Ebbs and flows in which of the Six Nations teams is weak. Just Wales' turn, hopefully, but the youth setup is appalling. And more world-class players come out of Sarries than Wales. Their association needs totally rebuilding to deliver a team those passionate fans deserve. Yeah, and that's the one thing that, has always impressed me is the fact that no matter how poor Wales have been at times, their fans still show up and they still support them and they are hopeful that it's just a little phase for this Welsh team. I don't think many sides could have the losing streak that they did and still manage to have huge crowds at a home game. Now, Alex Mitchell, cross again, nice little pop pass on the inside from Guy Pepper. George Ford fires it off to the left. Now, a lot of options. This could be an Arundel hat-trick if he's in the right place, but instead it's going to be Ben Earl down the wing and he scores the try. It's a try fest at the moment for England. He gives the thumbs up to the cameras. So they get number 3 up against 13. And rugby is more popular than football in Wales, says Big Rig. And Wales, they're absolutely embarrassing to watch, says DeGal. And try, says Big Rig. So that is now try number 3 for the English. Henry Arundel. Was expecting to see him out on that wing, but instead Ben Earl found himself right place, right time, and got to run it in. Good, decent attempt there from Alice Mee to be able to slow him down, but couldn't stop him. And by the time Wales joined this party, Henry Pollock walks in. Pub fight, says JD. Absolutely agree, and no small part down to the rise in recent years of their football team, says Steve. But now George Ford. Shot clock currently has 5 seconds remaining on it. Now that's more like it. From England, simple commit and pass. This could be a cricket score, says Mike, and the kick has gone over from Ford as well, making the score now 22-0. Look at where the teams are, though. Very much a north-south split in rugby, mainly in the south, says Steve. But yeah, those big thumbs up from Ben Earl. I think Wales should stick to playing Confers, says Dijal, and Lambs to the slaughter. Yeah, Joe there too. Yeah, and the sad reality is this can only get worse for Wales from here. Because next time they give away a scrum penalty, someone else is probably going to the bin. We could get to a point of uncontested scrums in this match. This just practicing for the World Cup. Group stage success. Knockout stages will be a bonus. And that's what you do, mate, when your team playing poor. Seen Wales over the years beat the very best. And they will be back hopefully soon, says Dennis. Just showing there, Nicky Smith, he is off the field for another minute with his yellow card. Dewey Lake off for another minute 40. I'm getting bored as a neutral. It's one-way traffic for England, says Gavin. Yeah, there's not a lot coming back for Wales at the moment, but they need 15 on the field to at least start finding some sort of momentum. Currently, they're just a bit outnumbered. Thomas Williams is across infield to Griffin. Looks like Thomas Williams is going to look for a box kick now. Is it only coincidence that Welsh rugby going bad since Deadpool? And it's only sunny guys stick their money into Welsh football? Says Studs Race. And stopping now, Wales is building for the 2046 World Cup. Says Jacques, that one was in touch. The first knock-on came from England. Second knock-on from Wales. So Wales will have themselves the scrum feed. And let's rather talk sevens. What's the current situation in Perth? So 2 semi-finals for the men's side. It is Fiji versus New Zealand and also Australia versus South Africa. They are taking place at around 5 p.m. New Zealand time tomorrow. We will be covering both of them on the channel. And then also we've got the earlier game between France and New Zealand in the sevens too for the women. I think England could hit 50 to 60 points on this form. Yeah, I think they probably started a bit slow, to be fair, for how quickly they would have liked to go in this game. They got that early 3 points. But the score, it could be 40-something at halftime. New Zealand made the semi-finals. Yeah, GB lost to Australia by a very narrow margin in the last group stage fixture. So New Zealand only won one game and made their way through from beating France. Okay, Jamie George is having a very tough time trying to listen to this French referee or trying to understand his accent. It's about the third time that we've heard Jamie George say, "Can you please repeat that back to me?" Just making sure he knows exactly what the ruling is. Ryan Reynolds stole talent from the Welsh rugby team like Space Jam and gave it to the footballers. And England 70 plus, says Martin. Now Thomas Williams feeding this ball in. They are still down with the 13 for just that little bit longer here, Wales, although there is going to be a scrum reset. 27 minutes in. Can it get any better for the Welsh in this contest? Their opening contest of last year's Six Nations was up against the French, and they lost that game 43-0. The question is this one going to be worse? Can they somehow pull it back? Wales are such a talented side. Says Degal, and to be fair to old Jamie, when the crowd are chanting at Twickenham, it's hard to hear anything else. And Genge needs ref to repeat himself because he's concussed after the headbutt. Says Studs Race. Now breaking off the back, Aaron and Wainwright. Decent carry now from the Welsh 8. Thomas Williams looking to the short side. Can Wales find some sort of try before this halftime break? Williams on across to Josh McLeod. Wainwright again. 25 metres out from the English line. It's the first real chance for England to have to defend for multiple phases in a row. Relatively close to their try line. That's how their Welsh Union's going down, says Martin. All chance there to steal that ball in the breakdown, but penalty awarded to Wales. Right, they will be back to 15 now. Why didn't Wales score? They were trying, to their credit. Right, we see 4 men making their way back onto the field. The 2 forwards who were replaced in the front row due to yellow cards, and then also the 2 other players coming back on. That is Eddie James and Alex Mann. Was the other one there? Time to start the comeback, Wales, says Big Rig. They will be 15 metres out from the line. The last line out that they were in this position on the field, they did end up having a bit of obstruction. Now did our men make the Cup semi-finals due to everyone losing to Australia was pretty much the gist of it. Because of everyone losing a game to Aussie, and then New Zealand had 1 win, GB had 1 win, France had 1 win, but New Zealand got the bonus points by losing by less margin. And that one is going to be the knock-on from the English. The scrum feed now for the Welsh. England a strong, serious depth, says Sean. Yeah, the fact that they have got the class of players off the bench in this game and also a list of guys who aren't even playing in this fixture, they are going to be a very handy side in 2027. We see it there, just Ollie Chisholm, it came off his hand. The knock-on, no kidding, when you got Cowan, Dickey and Itoje and Smith and Pollock and Curry on the bench, then you the solid, or your team is solid. Just switched off ITV after interruption by Virgin Atlantic ad. Says Fatboy McFat, you've changed your name. Either that or we haven't seen you since they added the @ symbol and people's usernames on YouTube have changed that way. But I recognise the koala. Going to be now reset scrum once more. And go New Zealand bonus points. And their efforts biased against the Welsh, says Phil Boy. Yeah, will be talked about quite a bit in terms of that Alice Genge headbutt from earlier on in the contest that wasn't given as anything more than the penalty. Who's on your fantasy in this game? I actually don't play fantasy, but someone who I've been keeping an eye on, of course, is Arundel. Heading into this contest, that man was always going to score at least once. I still think George Ford is going to score, though, in this game. I don't know why. I don't know how, but I think he gets one. Turning in for some quality ads, says Eric. Oh, free kick goes the way of England for a pre-engage against Wales. The absolute last thing that they would have been wanting. George Porter's just going to sink the slipper again into this one, looking to kick it downfield into the Welsh 22. And back on the right side of the field. One has gone into touch. George Ford has decided to take it quickly, gives it off to Freddie Stewart, who hits the ball up. Now Mitchell sold the dummy. Couldn't quite link up with Ollie Chisholm, who's joined that breakdown illegally from the side. It is still going to be play on. Ball's there for Mitchell on the halfway line. George Ford looking for the chip in behind. And taken nicely by Dan Edwards. He will go with a big boot downfield of his own. I remember quite a few guys on injury for the England squad. Ed Wilkinson's brother, George Martin, a couple of solid players not playing, says Sean. Yeah, even Emmanuel Fiwa-Boso out of the side late due to injury, bringing Tom Roebuck, and it's still a very decent trade. I like that the odds for this game aren't even who will win. It's will England win by more than 38. Says Big Rig. Wales need to be replaced by Fiji or Argentina, seriously, until Wales can actually play rugby like back in the old days. The fact that even before Six Nations started, Wales are already predicted to be last. Says Devon. Yeah, it certainly doesn't help that Italy were able to get themselves the win, because the battle of the wooden spoon, as people call it, was considered to be between Wales and Italy. But the fact that the Italians have a win, it's not looking too good for the Welsh here. And of course, Georgia will be going on about how they should be in the Six Nations competition. But anytime they play up against Wales or a side of that calibre, they end up losing. It makes it difficult. Jane Hamish, you must be so tired, says Ruth. Yeah, I've almost been up for 24 hours. We're on about our 11th and a half hour of streaming or something for the day. And somehow my voice is still here, but only just Adam Beard now. That one's going to be in the hands of Wales, 40 metres out from the English line. Pass back across Edwards. Oh, that looked a little bit high, but he was down on his knees, so I don't think that will be counted as too much. And Sneak wins through France and England's back door. And it was quite interesting in the post-match interview for the Italians, because they were talking about how they had the big goal in mind of what is next for them, and they didn't want to reveal what it was, but I think it was try and win the Six Nations. Can Italy beat the Irish, you think? Tough game at the Aviva. So I'd say probably not, although, to be fair, Ireland didn't look that flash up against the French, so if they played like they did up against France, maybe it could be close. Who knows? It's very hard to judge where this Italian side is actually, ranking-wise at this current point in time. Thomas Williams just milking that penalty, passing it straight into Alice Genge. I think George's argument is that they have beat the Tier 1 teams if they got to play them more often. Steal sharp and steal money from the big games. Says Big Rig. Well, that one's going to be thrown over the top. Mistake made by Wales. Almost a mistake from England as well, but they have managed to regather with Alex Coles. Now Alex Mitchell goes off to George Ford. Freeman, the middle, manages to bust through two tackles. We eat something and crash out before, or crash on that bed after this. Oh, good attack and run from Ollie Chisholm. We'll come back to that in a very short moment, but it is a knock on from the English again. But yeah, I'll probably find some sort of snack. I don't really know what to have though, because you don't want something massive before heading into hibernation. Although it won't be that long of a hibernation. It'll probably only be about 6 hours before I have to get back up ready to go for more sevens. Wales don't have this necessary discipline and accuracy and execution needed to at least be competitive in this match, says Milos. And can Scotland beat Wales? They should be able to, but it's very hard to tell. Like I mentioned, that was probably one of the more poorest Scotland performances I've seen in quite some time. Especially the line-out. That was extremely shaky for them in that match. 20 gain line successes at the moment for England compared to the 2 of Wales. The Welsh have got themselves the scrum feed now, and they will get themselves a free kick. Quick tap taken by Thomas Williams, way behind the mark. Ben Thomas, oh no, another missed pass. It's going to be picked up. Arundel should have a run-in for the corner, and he gets the hat-trick for England. He is just too quick. Are you reaching for a pie, obviously? Says Mike. I don't think there's anywhere that I could get a pie at this hour of the morning. Actually, no, to be fair, when this game finishes, the supermarket will be around maybe 30 minutes away from opening. Somewhere around there. Can I ask a question? Go for it, Mohadin. And Ireland is like a wounded lion playing in their own backyard. It'll be a tough one for Italy. But just a miscommunication there from the back line of the Welsh, and then picked up. And straight away, when Dingwall got the ball, he knew that someone was quicker than him in that English back line. Chucks it to Arundel, and no one was going to be able to catch him. A hat-trick in the first half of the Six Nations. Like they've just said, he hasn't really had to do too much for that hat-trick, just running them in. Poor Italy, they win. And it's just Wales, Scotland suck today, says Big Rig. Yeah, I think Italy do deserve a lot of credit, but the point that I was making there was the fact that, like, Scotland are hard to judge where they're at currently based on their performance in comparison to Wales. Because neither look flash. And in fact, you could argue the same thing about the Irish as well. Well, they didn't look that flash in their game. It's very hard to know who's actually sitting where in the Six Nations. Your stream is so behind, says Malos. And then we've got one earlier on, your stream is faster than mine, says Gavin. So we're about midway in between Gavin and Malos by the sounds of it. Yes, Arundel, my fantasy captain, looking good so far. He's going to get you a lot of points, I would say. I hear it's true that Georgia won against the Springboks last year. Is it true? That is not true, Mocha, then. They played them, but they did not win. You need a bit of Welsh rarebit in your Hundy, or if you're Hundy, Hamish. I have no idea what that means. I'll be honest. Wales get a try. The crowd gets behind them. Anything is possible, says Stephen. They're currently 29 points down and already a bonus point in play for the English. Makes Six Nations interesting. In fact, Italy won Scotland. Scotland will be gutted. Definitely Scotland going to want to win their next game, including Ireland. Now 2.5 left. Struggling to watch now, says Suds Race. Yeah, this one is very one-sided between these two teams. But little bit of a benefit. Wales have not been carded for about 15 minutes. And they do actually manage to win themselves the penalty there, Wales. This one is, once again, in an attacking position on the field for the Welsh. The not releasing penalty does go the way of the away side. And Wales are brilliant, says D. Jull. That one's going to be kicked into touch. But now line out. Wales 10 metres out from the try line. Can they get a point? Just one. We just want the one. Well, they can't get one. They have to get minimum 3. We'll take one try. And the scenario, is it in England? It is indeed at Twickenham Stadium in front of what looks like a sold-out crowd. A few Welsh supporters have made the trip, so hopefully they get something to cheer about while they're there. Right, advantage for the tackle in the air coming from Ollie Chisholm. Now, Thomas Williams, and off to the left-hand side, tries the little grubber, bouncing awkwardly, bounces up for Wales. Lewis 3-7 tries to control it with his foot, tries to kick it across field too, and they'll now go back for the penalty to the Welsh. Now, they should have been a try, or that should have been a try for Wales here. So, yeah, they just needed that pass to be a little bit higher so that Lewis 3-7 could grab it and fire it one more out the back line. Pass a bit soft and didn't quite make it there. Wales will suffer with an English, or when the English bench come on. South Africa have the bomb squad. England and the pom squad. Do Ireland have a bog squad? Says Jack. The first time we've heard from Zammit in a while, says Big Rig. Yeah, the last time I saw him was when he was trying to chase down Arundel, which was not successful, as Arundel was just too quick. Looks like Dewey Lake's going to take this quick tap here. Wales showing intent at the end of the first half, throwing himself at the try line, 3 metres out from the line now. Aaron Wainwright, round the side, rush defence from England, managing to shut him down and force him backwards. Oh. What have they found now? Basic skill. Didn't tap the ball, Dewey Lake. So because of that, it means that England get the scrum fee 5 metres out from the line. So he doesn't make contact with the back foot. We didn't get to see it from the other angle, though. It was very close. And Dewey Lake is not happy about it either. And didn't Zema go to the NFL in the US? He did. He was over there for a season or two and then has returned now. Welsh Union and the Bristol Bears. What the heck, Wales, that schoolboy stuff, says Big Rig. Now England, they have got 6 seconds remaining in this first half. I would think that they'll just look to get this ball out the back and then kick it into touch. Yeah, Alex Mitchell was just kind of doing a signal as if to say, what's the time, ref? But now another reset. Trying to get this one done as quickly as possible, the referee. Wales lose the ball on the English 5 metre. Schoolboy mistakes from Wales, says Melos. And Water break that line, please. Oh, sorry, Wales break that line, please. And England are already looking forward to the point after the game, says Big Rig. I'm curious to know how early England are going to make these subs. Because we've got to remember, they are in a position here how, like, they've done enough, I would say, to win this game from here on out. So, do you play those guys for 40 minutes off the bench, or do you give them like 20 at the end? It seems like every call will automatically go against Wales. They've been told to use it here. Alex Mitchell back into the pocket. 4 kicks it out, and that is going to be half-time in this match. 3 tries scored by the English. In fact, 4 tries. 1 for Ben Earl, 3 for Henry Arundel, and currently 29-0 in favour of the English. England are already looking forward. Oh, no, I read that one. But yeah, it's been a eventful first half. Wales have had 2 yellow cards. And feel our dragon in your hearts. Lads, fire, fire, fire. Says David. Yeah, I think if Wales can get any form of points from this game, they would be doing pretty well. The thing is, though, right? The feeling that we've got now with England versus Wales, it's going to be this feeling and some for those Rugby World Cup group stage fixtures. The fact that we've now got the more sides taking part in the competition. You know, New Zealand versus Hong Kong, China. Australia versus Chile. Well, Australia, Chile might be close, but, you know, I feel those lower ranked teams, there will be a few hidings in that Rugby World Cup. And, of course, it is brilliant that they are on that competition or in that competition, but it's going to be a few one-sided ones. It's going to be a record points game for England, says Sylvia. And oh dear, it's going to be somber. And the Welsh locker room at half-time. And no surprise with this, Wales are just a Tier 2 team now. If this was Italy, people would be calling for Georgia to come in. And another big factor is that Wales do not seem to think they can win. Even Scotland seem to think they can win the Six Nations. Wales feel deflated, says Big Rig. But yeah, like, when you look through at this lineup, you look at the experience disadvantage. You look at the player pool just not quite being as strong as the other teams. Like, you probably understand why they don't feel like they're going to win. But it's just a rough one to go from where they were to where they are now. Wales might as well not come out in the second half, says South. And I will mention, if this stays the way that it is, England will be sitting top of the table in the Six Nations after round 1. Still plenty more games to take place in this Six Nations comp. And what we will do while we're at the halftime break is we might as well show exactly what is going to be happening in the near future. 1 second, we'll go like this. Scroll down through the hundreds of overlays. Hopefully I'll be able to find the one that I'm after. I had it for France versus Ireland. There it is. This is the one we're after. And there we go. So Ireland versus Italy, that is taking place. Don't worry about how many days away it is, as we are a lot closer than when this graphic was made. But Ireland versus Italy taking place next round. Scotland versus England, and then also Wales versus France. That's going to be a tough game for the Welsh to bounce back from this one. And then the week after, England-Ireland. Huge game, and could really determine who finishes second in the Six Nations, if not first. Wales versus Scotland, France versus Italy. Then from there, we actually have the bye week, where no one will play, and then they go back in at about the 8th and 9th of March when those next games do take place. I said England by 80 points on my Super Brew, says Davian there. Looking forward to it, says Big Rick. And France win back-to-back Six Nations, says Shane. And also, we got Wales, please no donuts, get some points, please, and could be a 70-pointer. And we give you our famous go rest. I don't expect you to suffer through this game for our entertainment, says Roger. Yeah, it's certainly, like, that's the thing. If this had been the first game and then Scotland versus Italy had been the second, I feel like I would have a huge amount more energy. Like I feel like it's still like I'm still awake for the second half, but just feels like it's going to be one of those ones that gets repetitive of just England score, Wales yellow card. There's still going to be another one in this half, let's be honest. I never forget England is a strong squad and still improving, says Sean. Yeah, and they're certainly a side that you shouldn't underestimate in any aspect of their game. Like, I know that a lot of people don't like England, but they're a good side, and they will be a real competitor in that 2027 Rugby World Cup, if not one of the favourites. Hello, Hamish, says Peter there, welcome in. The Welsh errors from their last line out before halftime were bad, overrunning the play, poor maul, backline disorder, and then failure to tap the ball are bad signs. Wales are piss poor so far, to be honest, says Alistair, and your energy level is way higher than the BBC lot. That's why I'm here, says Hammer. And yeah, we've got plenty more coming up later on. Sevens still taking place on the channel, which hopefully we won't have too many one-sided affairs in. But New Zealand are going to be playing up against the French in the semi-final of the women's. That is at 5:13 p.m. New Zealand time, so a very early morning start for you guys in the UK. Then we've got New Zealand versus Fiji and Australia versus South Africa in the semis. And then the matches later on in the day as well. Wales are beating themselves at the moment. England don't have to lift a finger. They're still on second gear. And the fact that they have the guys making their way off the bench later on in this game as well, it's just going to go from bad to worse. Welsh rugby is in a bad situation, which is having a negative impact on both the domestic and national level. Yeah, and we see the Ospreys. They are no longer a thing. From next season onwards, I believe it is, that they are going to be gone. So, you know, is that the first of many things that happen for Welsh Union that just gets them in a little bit more strife? It is a shame. Did you just say lift a finger? Says, what's up, guys? I did, because it was written in a comment, so I read it. And yes, France are unpredictable, says the Blue. France and England peaking too soon. Is that rubbish to say? I think the thing is, peaking too soon is one that people always like to bring up. But until you get to see the sides in action for that World Cup, it's very hard to know. But, like, I think there's just good form and there's bad form. And at the moment, France and England are in good form. Now, will they still be in good form for 2027 if they play the way that they currently are? Absolutely. But, yeah, I don't think they're peaking too soon. I think that they're just strategically, like, they've been growing ever since that last World Cup. And, you know, they are getting better and better. So many penalties, 2 yellow cards. Lineouts lost. Appalling from Wales, says Alistair. And Squid Rugby and Nigel Owens Whistle Watch are great. Everyone else is poor, says Big Rig. And Hamish, I don't want to spoil the score, but New Zealand sunk to 50 points to 55. Ooh, that's not good. Wait, are New Zealand playing at the moment? I thought they were playing tomorrow. I don't know. New Zealand playing Afghanistan tonight, starting at 6:30 p.m. That'll be during the time that the sevens are taking place. Very amateurish. This used to be a highlight of the sporting calendar. Sadly, no longer, says Saturday Player. Yeah, it feels like one side is much better than the other. But then also, like, I don't know. It's a weird, uneasy feeling about the game, if that makes sense. Like, because these two sides have sometimes had great battles, seeing one side completely dominate the opposition and the other team just have no chance just doesn't feel right, if that makes sense. Even though Wales, of course, have struggled the last couple of years up against the English. But yeah, it just, I don't know. Feels like we're watching just a slaughter of one team. They're on a double-digit winning streak and beat New Zealand, says Big Rig. And also we have got there, they could have placed a British team, but it's important to grow the squad. That's what Steve's been good at, says Sean. And Ireland to finish third, says James. So you're going France and England above them, I assume, James, in that case. Now just showing the highlights at the moment of New Zealand versus South Africa in the sevens. I will mention the second half of this game. It's going to be kicking off in about, I'd say, 5 minutes' time before we get back underway. My grandma could fit in that Welsh team. And I meant B team, says Sean there. And also, Welsh Rugby is finished. Need to start at grassroots level, says the 40s. And he's a great referee with an intelligent, fun, hilarious personality. He's my favourite ref too, and Whistle Watch is worth a watch. It's a bit of a tongue twister at the end. So far, England are profiting from silly individual mistakes. These are basics that professional players should have. Can we really blame Welsh Rugby Union for schoolboy mistakes? Yeah, see, I don't think, the players do need to take some responsibility for what's going on out there on the field at the moment. The likes of Dewey Lake not taking the tap because he missed it with his foot is just something that, you can't afford to do. Definitely not when you're down 29-0 at the time. Ireland is not out yet. Exactly right. If they manage to go on and win the rest of their games and either England beat France or Scotland beat France or Italy or Wales can help them out, that would then give Ireland the chance. But they actually need to rely on someone else to win a game. I called the Arundel hat trick. You certainly did. And I've just fed it to him. He's hardly been, in fact, I don't think he's been tackled or even touched in his 3 tries that he's run in. And just keep on going out. What, Sevens game, South Africa, New Zealand? Yeah, they are showing the replay of New Zealand versus South Africa from Singapore Sevens, the 3rd place bronze final. No subtitles on Wales S4C channel. So here's linking it. And also France and England 1st and 2nd, Ireland 3rd and Italy 4th. But it's wooden spoon contest between Wales and Scotland to be bottom 2. So here's a James for that prediction. I think I'd go Scotland 5 in that case. I think that Wales would end up finishing below them. Ireland going out, England going to beat them too. So here's Martin. See, the ideal scenario would be England and France remain undefeated till the final round of the competition. And then they play off to determine the Six Nations. That would be great. That would be the equivalent of a final. And, it could happen. But I feel like Ireland are a team that could actually cause it to not happen if they do get it going up against the English in only a few weeks' time. I think it's highly unlikely Ireland win the Six Nations, might get runner-up, but we would have to improve dramatically from last night's diabolical performance. Yeah, see, the interesting thing is throughout, this first round, of course, normally you have the winners and losers. But in this case, it's been 3 sides that have played, solid rugby and 3 sides that have played some of their worst. So once again, very hard to judge where everyone's actually going to be sitting. 29-0 already. Yeah, it's half-time in this contest. 3 tries for Henry Arundel and also the try for Ben Earl. Wales have suffered 2 yellow cards already, 2 at the same time. They were playing with 13 men out there on the park. They've also made a lot of errors along the way and aren't too far away from getting another yellow. But still 40 minutes to potentially change the game. Hey, Hamish, how you doing? I'm late. Who's winning Wales, says John. Wales are certainly not. But they might get a try. I actually think Italy could be in the top 2 this year, says Boris. Are they giving you a false sense of security, though, the Italians? Because they're quite good at that. You think one week that they're on fire, and then the next week they lose by 50, and you go, oh, okay. Little bit of that lack of consistency. Pollock to start second half, hopefully, says Jeff. 3 easy tries for Arundel. Yeah, just run-ins pretty much for that man. What, for the Welsh Yellows? So one was for repeat infringements, and then the next one was dragging down a rolling ball about half a minute later. So they ended up with 2 of their front rowers off the field. They then had to make the changes to try and compete at the scrums, which they then got penalised for a couple more times. So probably not a half that they want to remember here. And Ireland are a busted nutsack. That's an interesting way of wording it. As Henry Pollock on the field, not yet. He will be making his way on in the second half. Probably has a good chance of being able to score as well. I think Ireland need a few losses, honestly. They were too comfortable and too conservative. For a while, it's time to have a kick in the arse. I wonder if that headbutt, no call kind of affected Welsh players. I needed some composure from the leaders. Well, the question is, how different could this game have been if Genge had received a red card for that? Wales would have been the team with the advantage for a bit of time. But now we never know. So if you're the box watching this, do you think France or England would be giving you anything to think about this week? I think that, if you're the box, you probably shouldn't be too worried about the Six Nations just yet. It's still another 100 and something days until the South Africans are in action. So, yeah, I feel like they can sit back and enjoy this off time from the URC as well. Just rest and recover. But, yeah. But, Rassi, he might be thinking about it a little bit. He's been pretty busy. I've seen on social media he was, breaking up in his mouth and letting his dog eat it out? I think it was nuts or something like that. So he's pretty busy at the moment, Rassi. And top 3, I reckon, first Italy, second France, third England. See, that would be big for the Italians, because they would have to win a couple of huge games away from home to be able to secure that. And when does the Super Rugby season kick off? Kicking off next week on Friday night, and it is the opening contest between the Blues and the Chiefs, which we will be covering on the channel. But the second half is just about to get underway. And also, who do you reckon is the All Blacks' new coach? There's the 40s. There's about 3 options at the moment. Foster and Hansen is one combination. Jamie Joseph another. And then also Dave Rennie. Those are the names that are leading the charge. Is Rassi still the doctor of rugby, Hamish? Says John Mills. He's a doctor in outside of rugby. He's got the doctorate, hasn't he? England A is highly likely to be favourable. Our team to face Wales tonight. And England's backline is poor, to be honest, considering the Welsh are on the back foot. And it's not impossible, easy win or very easy to win Springboks. Says Sean. Hopefully we see a bit of smooching in the second half. But now England out there on the field, same with Wales. We're ready to go. Second 40 minutes. Hopefully we get a little bit of something going on here, other than just one-sided dominance. I got me fingers crossed. Wales are bad, says Leslie Boy. And Yanni Duplessis is also a doctor. Kicked off by George Ford. It's back underway in this match of the Six Nations, currently 29 down. How's your sleep? Please sing in your sleep, says Mohaddin. I'm hoping that I won't be doing any sleep talking of any sort, just so that I can recover my voice a little bit before the sevens that does take place. Ellis Genge has been taken off the field for Bevan Rod, so the early switch from them there. Contestable ball in the air, taken by Wales with Ben Thomas. Now Thomas Williams. Kicks downfield, well taken at the back from Freddie Stewart. They've covered those kicks really nicely throughout this game, England. That is one part of their game that they definitely deserve a huge amount of credit for. Wales have tried to win that territory game multiple times. Just haven't been able to get it moving. Hamish Northwick has punished Genge for poor discipline and selfishness on the try line. Silly penalties from Genge. Could have been worse, though. He could have got a red card. And when I voted for England to beat Wales, the majority had Wales for the win. Now that England are crushing them, percentages have drastically changed in favour of England. Says Luddy. Louis Bielbiere finally got a competitor. It'll be interesting to see who scores the most tries out of him and Henry Arundel. Bit of a kicking back and forth, but now the ball will be available for the Welsh to have that line-out time. I'm an English supporter. I'd like it to actually be a contest and not a total whitewash, says Sylvia. Yeah, it would just be nice to see Wales do something in terms of like try scoring wise, like show some sort of sign that with a few more games under their belt in the Six Nations, maybe they could be competitive. Thomas Williams with short ball, drop ball from the Welsh, though, that time, trying to pass it off to the side, was knocked on by Archie Griffin. Our union is so boring, says Leslie. It can get that way a little bit when it's a bit one-sided. I have to say that game earlier on, though, between Scotland and Italy, even though there were a lot of mistakes, it was thoroughly entertaining for the 80 minutes. Do you still enjoy that song, He's in Your Head? The song's called Zombie. It's a decent song overall. You hear it every once in a while on the radio. What other sports outside of rugby and rugby sevens do you watch? I do try and watch a little bit of cricket when I do get the time. What else do I watch? A bit of golf every once in a while. Just to mellow out and kind of relax. And I love Union way more than League or Sevens. So here's Big Rig. Now 3 minutes gone in the second half. Another penalty. Boxing, I do watch a little bit of MMA as well. Not a huge amount of boxing, but more so the MMA side of things. How long is Northern Hemisphere halftime breaks then, geez? It was about 15 minutes, but they're back underway now. And League is king, says Leslie Boy. I think the reason why the All Blacks are on such a bad run is because there's no rotation throughout the squad. Staff never really giving younger players a crack. But also just the general play, says Josiah. Yeah, see, it'll be interesting to see what happens next for the All Blacks, because they're going with the new coach. That new coach now pretty much has to win a World Cup or else he will get sacked as well. That's pretty much what New Zealand Rugby has set as the standard now. Will be Jamie George with the line-out throw here. 22 metres out from the Welsh line, watching Volk walk out to land down under it. And, the other morning was so sick. Absolute legend. Says, how's it? Now rolling ball again here for England. Jamie George, he's lurking, waiting for his chance to be able to use this one. Looks like Alex Mitchell is going to get it out of there first. Ball's still available. There it goes. Now it's there for Ben. Goes across to George Ford. Rush defense on him. Great attacking flat run. And just dragged down short. 5 metres out. Roebuck. Oh no, in fact, it's going to be Freeman who decides to play halfback. Now Mitchell pops it on the inside to Jamie George. 2 metres out under penalty advantage. Here for England once more. Now Mitchell goes across to George Ford. Shovels on. And it's another easy pass across. It'll be the try for Tom Roebuck. Came into the side late, and both wingers been getting in the action for the English. And I bet the All Blacks will be better due to the new coach now. Says, what's up, guys? Ayasa got no cards after the headbutt incident. Says Xander. And also, Wales just need to put 5 Joneses on their side. And they'll be competitive again, says World Chance twice. It's a good run from Tom Roebuck, though, to open up another try for the English. This points differential is getting extremely impressive. He's had 9 caps, Tom Roebuck, and he scored 6 times. Pretty decent conversion rate for that man. Speaking of conversions, George Ford now has 1. He'll be able to line up. I did think he was going to have a decent chance of scoring, but he hasn't really had too many chances on attack so far. Now, that is going to be over from Ford. 36 points to 0. I remember it's not complete A-team England, few injuries. What makes England a good team now is the depth they're building. And is this even worth watching, says Sakabola? Only for the chat, I would say. But, England are going to win this game by a big margin. So, yeah, it's just whether or not you want to stick around and have a chat about it, or maybe a different topic would be a good one at the moment. I'm sure the Welsh would like a topic change in this match. 46 minutes through, though. I'm going to again roll this back with Alex Mitchell. And can't Wales tackle Hamish? Where's JPR Williams? Says John, yeah, they make one good tackle and then they miss the next one, which I think is one of the most frustrating things for them at the moment. George Ford looking for the cross kick. Sits up now for Josh Adams. I haven't even mentioned that man throughout the contest, but now running down the wing, it is Eddie James. It's also across about New Zealand in the box on the collision course, the Rugby World Cup 2027. And then I think on top of that, people are annoyed that it wasn't New Zealand-Australia as the opening contest of that Rugby World Cup comp. Now, ball ripped away from Aaron Wainwright, but it does go backwards for the Welsh into the hands of Alex Mann. Now, Williams again. Little bit of hesitancy in the back line of the Welsh, but it opens up a bit of space for Lewis Rees-Zammit, who again will look to kick it in behind, wanting the 50-22. And that ball bouncing awkwardly. They're almost stepping into touch for Freddie Stewart. Good tackle made by Alice Mee. 5 metres out from the line now. England trying to keep that ball in their ruck. It's a counter from the Welsh, but they went straight over the top of it and didn't take the ball with them. Guy Pepper towards the sideline now. And get Phil Bennett and Gareth Edwards in. Am I allowed to complain about the obstruction number 11 ran? And that try, old man yelling at clouds, says Studs Rose. And I don't want to start with a defeat. Yeah, but at the same time, it would just be a massive game, wouldn't it? I think they're saving most of the big games for Sydney, though, by the looks of it. Quick to throw taken by the Welsh. Here comes Josh Adams again. Oh, big shot on him by, I think it would have been Guy Pepper once more. Oh, that was a poor pass, but Aaron Wainwright has done phenomenally to be able to not just take that, but also create a chance. There's an advantage now in favour of the Welsh. Thomas Williams goes away to the right. Now Ben Thomas shovels it on. Every pass is behind the Welshman, but sitting right on the sideline. Thomas Williams, terrible bounce pass there, picked up by Wales though. 3 metres out from the try line. Can they score? Williams sold the dummy a couple times. Thought about going himself for being tackled by Bevan Rod. Still into penalty advantage now. for the Welsh. That ball has come out the back. And it's now going to be the penalty. That's excellent defence and breakout from the English. Good work rate. Says Mike. Yeah, England are working extremely well throughout this contest. And, it's very easy to say that Wales are playing bad. But I think one of the reasons they are playing poorly is because of that pressure that England are putting them under. England will have a hard time with the Frenchman backlines. Says JD. Right, again, it looks like Wales are going to be kicking this one to the corner rather than taking on the 3 points. When's the bomb squad coming on? I don't think they'll be a mile away here. Definitely because there is an English player down at the moment with some sort of injury. I think that is maybe Alex Coles. And then got top back line now with loads of options, says Sean. At this point, Wales just want to avoid a donut. Yeah, although if they wanted to avoid the 0, they would have taken the 3 to give them 36-3 as the scoreline. But I think they need that try just for their own confidence here. And England going to get demolished by the Springboks B team, says Martin. And you don't see that too often. Says, what's up, guys? Now looking to get this rolling ball marching forward. England have defended them well throughout the rest of this contest, but this one's looking well set for Dewey Lake. They've been told to use it once. So Thomas Williams will get it out the back. On left-hand side, little pass to Ellis Mee. It's right beside him. It's all moving laterally at the moment for this Welsh team. Now, Thomas Williams up to Aaron Wainwright. 3 metres out in front of the post. Williams again pops it up to the forwards. There's a new advantage. That is put offside against the English. Jamie George trying to get in that breakdown. He's going to be rolled out of it. Now Williams. Drop ball. They'll go back for another penalty. Final score, England 57-0. Oh, that's going to be the warning here for the English. This is exactly what the Welsh would need. An Englishman going to the bin. But it's not quite happening just yet. And Cymru says Trojan there. And what is happening with Wales? Are England that good? Says morning. England have played a very good game of rugby so far. And the thing is, even with it being 36-0, they have made their own fair share of mistakes. Well, some good attacking, quick recycling of the ball by Wales. Much better. Says Mike. Right, 1, 3 and 6 are all making their way off for the Welsh. Looks like we are going to see the quick tap taken by Dewey Lake. Now, he will be definitely making sure that he taps this one. And a couple changes being made by the English as well. Maro Itoje, he makes his way on. Okay, Lewis Rees-Zammit at the moment having a big conversation with the referee. He's not happy with something that has taken place in terms of the breakdowns. So as Henry Pollock comes on, it's time for Wales to strike, says John. More than likely, though, what's going to happen is Henry Pollock will come on and probably score within 5 minutes. Wear the shirt again. I didn't expect them to win, but at least they should be disciplined, says Russell. Yeah, giving away a lot of penalties throughout this contest thus far. Thomas Williams goes in behind to Aaron Wainwright. 3 metres out. Can they do it here, Wales? Ben Thomas, rush defence again from England, just shutting him down where he stood. Now another advantage. This time it is for advantage off feet. Cross kick attempted here. And England cover it. This might be the yellow card this time, though. When is the Blitzboks playing their semi-final with the Sevens? They are taking on the Australians. I believe that is at 6:19. Oh no. Repeat infringements. Maro Itoje is the man who gave away the wrong penalty. He's been on the field for maybe 30 seconds, and now he gets sent off for 10. I think this is scary for World Rugby. The All Blacks players know that they're in a bad situation right now and are going to awaken a beast and go out to the field and run right, says Josiah. And F-off says Inquisitor there for the yellow card of Maro Itoje. Now going back across Tame Plumtree, just short of the line. England using that physicality to try and stop them from breaking over the line. Reece Curry. Now Williams. This is going to be the chance, just 1 metre short of the try line. Someone's got to go over here, surely, for the Welsh. Short of the line for Tame Plumtree, 1 metre out. England's goal line defence at the moment is phenomenal, but I can't work out if it is that. Oh, he could have almost scored it himself. Going for the cross kick, Josh Adams. He will score it out wide, and they finally strike in this game, Wales. France going to end England winning streak, says Shane. Amaro, that's hilarious, says Mike, and why the yellow card? I missed it. So repeat infringements. They had just got the warning as Itoje made his way onto the field, and then he gave away the first penalty afterwards and got himself sent off. Let's go, says Inquisitor there. But yeah, the cross kick straight out to Josh Adams looked easy enough for the Welsh in that scenario. And I like what Steve Borthwick is doing, says Sean. And come on, get another 2 tries, Wales, for consolation. And Harry Pollock is not in Skulkberger's class, says Martin. Well, you got to look at the players and look at the difference. In terms of one of them has had his whole career, one of them is now just starting it. Now, kicking that one. It has gone over from the Welsh, making the score 36-7 at the moment, the way that it sits. And no donuts, please, we're on a diet. And also, Hamish, did Wales strike like a python, more like a tree stake? It was a decent crossfield kick, to be fair, to the Welsh. It looked like a handy enough try. And it seems like there's a bit of intent now from this Welsh team. It seemed like they were rushing to get back to the halfway line. Maybe that was the try that they needed. When is the next All Blacks coach going to be named? I thought it was going to be before Super Rugby, but I'm not actually 100% sure when it is going to be announced. Tame Plumtree trying to run this one back for the Welsh. He has made his way off the bench. It's easy to note what makes Pollock so good. And he doesn't have much experience, says Sean. Now, kicked for touch. It's gone now. And I believe it will be the English line out. Yes, it is about 30 metres out from the line. Game ends England 36, Wales 37, says Big Rig. I can't imagine how much the stadium would be rocking if that was the case. If we somehow saw a massive comeback, I know that it's not going to happen, of course, but if it somehow did, the crowd would go absolutely insane. I don't know what would be louder, the English crowd booing or the Welsh fans who did make the trip cheering. Now, line out for the English, successfully taken, and rolling maul now setting up 25 metres out. Adam Beard's gone through the middle of it. I think he's got all over that ball. Going to make it very difficult for England to be able to get this ball out of it, although it is now available for Luke Cowan-Dickey. I never rated Itoje. Sorry, says Roger. I love how some of the Welsh think this is the comeback. We got no chance, says Nikolai. And the New Zealand shortlist for coach was named already, says Xander. Now off to the right, George Ford. Finds the hands of Ben Earl. Twickenham as a fortress, Amish, says John. Oh, drop kick attempt. No, he's going high instead, George Ford. I thought for a second it was dropping back. Try and take a 3-pointer. One's going to be knocked on by the English. Josh Adams goes back across to Harry Deves. And come on, Wales, only 30 points, says Martin. Williams. Oh, it's a nice little story. They've said there that Harry Deves started wearing headgear so that his mum would recognise him on the TV. If you genuinely don't rate Itoje, you're not just trying to be edgy, then frankly you should commentate about rugby because you have no idea what world-class locks look like, says Hammer. And I don't see how that's possible, though, for the comeback. I assume that is from What's Up, guys. And I can see Razor coaching the Lions here. 25 minutes left. Harry Deves is on the screen currently. And England are still yet to make a few of those big changes. I do see that Tom Curry, he has made his way onto the field, chipped him behind. From England yet again, just playing a bit more of that territory type of battle. Here's the big run from Lewis Rees-Zammit, going up the middle of the park, breaks through 2 challenges, passes on the outside, but Ollie Chisholm all over his teammate. But there was almost a knock-on from the Welsh on the ground. Here comes Aaron Wainwright. Looks like they're starting to believe just a little bit here. And remind me that each star on the back of Bret Hart's leotard represented one of his kids, says Big Rig. And what I like about Stevie is developing a squad, different players of his different strength and weakness. Mark is called by, well, it's Freddie Stewart, but Lewis Rees-Zammit bumped through a couple tackle attempts. Alex Mitchell got pretty much run over. Now kick downfield from England off the mark. So another 4.5 minutes remaining of that Maro Itoje yellow card. England look tired, says JD. Yeah, maybe they are starting to slow down just a little bit in this match, which is why I assume we're going to see a couple more changes made in the relatively near future. 10 carries in this game for Lewis Rees-Zammit. You can already taste the post-game pie and chips. Now moving away to the left again for the Welsh. Popping it up into the hands of Aaron Wainwright. Just around the halfway line, but Wales have had more possession throughout the last maybe about 10 minutes of this game than it almost felt like they had throughout the first 40. Now backline, Ben Thomas goes to Guy Pepper, or tackled by Guy Pepper, I should say. Oh, Reece Curry, he's just dropped the ball. I think I just jinxed them. And too little too late, but at least Wales are fighting for it. And Baborfoot broken his nose more times than Quagga, Hamish. Or has he? I don't know. How many times has Quagga actually broken his nose? Because it looks like it's a fair few. Although, to be fair, if you're in that many breakdowns, you're probably going to have a broken bone or two. Do you think Wales may have got a little told off at halftime? Much better in the second half so far, says Mike. I assume that they didn't get praised for that first half. Like, the coach would have had to say something to them, saying, look, boys, this is embarrassing. I like it when guys immediately become insulted after an opinion. Well, you're the rugby genius, I suppose, says Roger. And each star on Shane Warne's uniform represented the Mars bars. Here for breakfast, says Studs Rose. Quagga doesn't break his nose, he breaks his face. Now 22 and a half left on the clock. So Happy Wales got a try, says DeGala. It does look a lot better than the nil. I know to be a fly on the wall in the Wales halftime. Team talk telling off. Coach said no cheese on toast for a week if they don't score a try tonight. And Quagga once on a four-wheeler. And Wales have been a team of two halves for years, says Inquisitor. The crowd's still seem in high spirits, though. Even those ones supporting the Welsh, at the end of the day, all you can do is just hope that they get a little bit better as this match does wear on, which so far you'd have to argue that they have. Especially each coach in the world rates a Toje. You don't. Chances are you're wrong. Says Hammer. They give Quagga an NFL helmet, and Quagga was a Champions quad rider. I think that's where he gets... Oh, he got the touch-up, says Sakabulla. Front row's collapsing there again. Just going to be another reset. Okay, referee just making sure that the scrums know exactly what is expected of them here. Although he has had to tell them quite a few times throughout this match. 22 minutes now left. It's going to feel like a long time for both of these sides. Hi, Hamish says Vic and Burn Sports Chat. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing well. I assume you're also live for this game currently. But yeah, hopefully you've been enjoying the action so far of the Six Nations. Honestly, our rugby has been so bad lately that we'll just be happy if the boys put out a decent effort. And do you think that when Zammit messes up, the other players go, damn it, Zammit? Because I would. Feel like the opportunity's there, isn't it? You'd use a punt of some sort for him. Free kick goes the way of England now. They've still got themselves that bonus point in this contest. Great win for Italy, says Vic Vern Sports Chat. Yeah, huge win for the Italians over the Scottish. Oh, not taken cleanly from Lewis Rees-Zammit inside of the 22 for Wales, but it bounces backwards. They have still got themselves the ball. Thomas Williams going to send this box kick down the park once more. Let's get a decent clearing kick away. France is still the Six Nations champ, says Shane. Will Henry end up like Quagga? Do you think, Hamish? He's a pretty boy now, says John. Probably not, since people have said that Quagga got most of his injuries of his face from his riding days. And it isn't getting any easier for Wales next weekend against France. Yeah, it kind of goes from bad to worse, doesn't it? And then Italy also have a pretty rough draw. They play Ireland next week and then they play England. Ireland, then France, then England. So 3 tough games from here on out. Luke Cowan-Dickie looking to the short side, passes it across to Alex Mitchell, tries to put the pass. Oh, chasing after it there. It was George Ford. Thought he was in with a decent crack of being able to get close to that one, but they'll go back for the initial penalty. Now, heading into the last quarter of this fixture, Maro Itoje has 30 more seconds before he's able to return out there on the field. At least we get the worst games out of the way early, says Inquisitor. It's going to be side entry against the Welsh at line-out time. I did predict a George Ford try in this game. So he's got to score soon, if we want any chance of being correct there. My scoreline was also 45-12, which at the moment isn't a mile away, although they would have to take a drop kick or a few actually at this stage to be able to get to that scoreline. How many sneezes today? We haven't actually sneezed in the last about probably... I think I had one sneeze in the Italy versus Scotland game, but outside of that, it was only the really early morning sevens games. Can't afford it to be giving away silly penalties, says Inquisitor. Now, Alex Mitchell goes across there. George Ford with a little pop pass up. In fact, that time it was the number 12 Dingwall. Waiting for ironic Maro Atoje crowd response. Says Mike. Another good driving tackle made by Wales. George Ford just delays that pass, gives it off to Freddie Stewart. Great run down the wing from Chisholm to get them 5 metres out from the try line. Mitchell goes back across again. Ford distributing that ball, trying to keep his backs involved. Across here, George Ford. He's not quite deciding to go himself. Almost through there for Tommy Freeman. Now Mitchell recycles quickly. All four drops that ball. Picks it back up. Offloads it up to Ben Earl, who almost goes straight through 2 metres out from the try line now for England. They look off to Tommy Freeman. See him finish it. He is just short of the line. Ben Earl a bit slow to get back up after that last one. Looks like maybe suffered a bit of an injury or maybe just adjusting some of that strapping on the knee. George Ford doing well on the breakdown to stop. Oh no, still the penalty awarded to the Welsh. A more instruction set starts raised there. There's a difference between the box and the rest in the 60th minute as when the box shift the gear upwards. Says Roger. A one on Hamish good score prediction, says John. I was nervous early on. I felt like I was way too low with the predicted one. Wales Rugby is now gone. I can see them not even beating Zimbabwe. And also, a try a foreign coach works wonders for the English cricket team. And well done, Hamish, good score. Wales has a long way to go, but it starts with a first step. And to be honest, England not really looking that flash either. Says Suckable. Yeah, they've had a fair few share of errors throughout this game as well. Although sometimes when you're playing a side that are struggling so badly, you can kind of fall into the trend of playing similar to them, if that makes sense. But I feel like, oh, that's a big collision with Ben Earl. In fact, no, that was Tom Curry. He might be knocked out here. Oh, no, he's woken up. He's all right. Back up on his feet. Now Williams puts that one up. I've just mentioned that Henry Pollock is not a mile away from making his way out onto the field here. Thomas Williams slaps it back for Dan Edwards. Cross kick attempted again. It is how they scored their first try of the contest, Wales, but that one goes over the sideline. I think England are now playing in top gear for the second half. Final score, England win factually 50 points to 14. A big cheer going around the ground for Henry Pollock as he's shown on the big screen, and it looks like it will be Ben Earl who does get replaced. Or at least you'd think it would be. But it looks like they're going to hold off for that little bit longer. You have to hope that that doesn't lead to any sort of Earl injury. Luke Cowan-Dickey. Let's grab that one now, going off to the left. Little short ball to Ben Earl. Obviously not injured because he's still steaming forward for England. Alex Mitchell. Across to George Ford now. Sold the dummy. Gives it off to Atoje on his right. I need a new couch too. Now a little shuffle step there from Tom Curry. Mitchell across to the right-hand side. I'm surprised that Tommy Freeman hasn't scored in this game, to be honest. He was probably right up there with Arundel in terms of guys that I thought might have been able to cross the try line in this match. As a first assessment of England so far, there is a new organisation everyone seems to play. Oh, that's a great breaking run from George Ford here, sitting 3 metres out from the try line. It was a great run from the fly half. Looked like it might have been the last bit of energy that he had in his gas tank too. Big run from Davison. The ball ripped away. The penalty awarded to England. Uh-oh. This is going to be a yellow card now for Wales. Playing the ball on the ground and ripping it away. So it will be Ben Thomas who makes his way from the park or from the field for the next 10 minutes. Meaning that he will only be returning for the final 5. Freshman is underrated. See his short videos. And England's next match is against Scotland. It's not going to be easy. A match is in Edinburgh. Right, The scrum is called by England. The crowd are cheering, which we all know what that means. Henry Pollock makes his way onto the field. And it looks like it's going to be for Ben Earl in this scenario. And Boris is on, says Eric there. And how many subs did England make thus far? I think that's now all. Marcus Smith also on the field for Freddie Stewart. So I think that's maybe all of them, except for Ben Spencer. I don't think I've seen him yet out there on the field. Oh no, in fact, Tom Roebuck is coming off, and I think that is for Ben Spencer, in fact. Out from bad to worse. And they have kicked this one towards the corner here for the English. Line out goes over the top, nicely claimed there by Harry Deves. Tackle made by Henry Pollock, who tries to hold him up. Tackle was made. Does have to release him. Yellow card time done. 9 minutes 30 remaining of Wales yellow card, but Maro Itoje's has been completed. And Thomas Williams kicks it downfield. Still another 14 minutes left on the clock. Still plenty of time for a couple more tries in this game for either of these teams. Smith in for fullback. See his short videos. Yeah, they'll go that dual attack now. Looks like Tommy Freeman's got a bit of a shiner. Black eye from this contest. It's been a hard-hitting one, even though one side is dominating in terms of the scoreboard. Been some huge hits coming in. Here comes Henry Pollock. Bumps off one, but gets tackled by Dewey Lake around the bootlaces. Now skip pass out to the right-hand side. Tommy Freeman sitting 25 out. Looking for the steal there, Wales, but the ball is still at the back. Henry Pollock. Another carry for him. Chopped down low. Mitchell. Distributed by Ford. Just getting it into the hands of his forwards. A time for Wales to cash in now. Hamish, says John Mills. And now George Ford passes on the outside. Tommy Freeman passes back. Henry Pollock. I don't think that's a try. I think he's actually gone into touch here. And it is in touch. No, they've called it a try straight away. I feel like that was Henry Pollock's feet in touch before he scored that one. They may just have to check it. But Pollock, I did say he would come on and score within 5 minutes. But I don't think this one's actually a try. I think if they look at it, it will be out. What did I miss, says Inquisitor? So a yellow card for the Welsh. We're going to see it here. Tame Plumtree. Oh, he hits him high anyway, but the foot is out. It's no try from Henry Pollock. I'm surprised that they missed it. But he's out of play, but it's still a high shot from Tame Plumtree. Right, they've decided that they should probably check this. It always looked like he was out. If England wants to win the Rugby World Cup again, they need to recruit the box team, says Ruby. And he was out, says Sakabula. Right. Foot in touch. It is the high shot from Tame Plumtree, though, so you could argue that the reason that he has been able to pull him into touch is because of the hand round the neck. So I think this is going to be not a try to Henry Pollock, but probably going to be a penalty try for the English. Just showing it now. He does go out there, Henry Pollock. A penalty try, unfortunately, says Studs raised, which will lead to another yellow card, more than likely. Underrated, but Mitchell's having a really good game at 7. Oh, sorry, at 9. Yeah, they're just looking at this one multiple times in a row. We need a baseball umpire to come in and yell, "You're out," or "safe," for this kind of situation. He does hit him high. And they're going to look at this one for a very long time by the looks of it. But I think that the decision's going to be more than likely penalty try, yellow card, which will mean that Wales will once again be playing with 13 on the field. Yeah, yellow card, penalty try, Tame Plumtree will make his way off. For the 7th time this season, they've just said Tame Plumtree's got himself a yellow card. And also, we need to mention, for the 4th time in this game, Wales have got themselves another yellow. We have 5 yellow cards in this game in total. Maro Itoje, the only Englishman who has received one. So Henry Pollock, he's disappointed that that try doesn't go to him. An easy decision, kind of like a headbutt. And fair decision, says Eric. And there as well. But yeah, they were very quick awarding that try. with how close to the sideline it looked. Too many penalties, says Inquisitor, but this one's going to be kicked off again. This time by Dan Edwards. George Ford. Kicking it downfield again. Good prediction, Hamish, says Mike. And more yellows in an episode of The Simpsons. And marked across his face. And Tane is one of the worst players in Wales, I think. Wales can still come back right. It's probably... They can still score again. No, I will mention my score prediction, 45-12 is looking all right if Wales can somehow score with 13 men on the field. Northern Hemisphere Rugby, cards for miles. Not all games in Northern Hemisphere. We did see the other matches of the Six Nations hardly feature a card. Don't mind them calling try and then looking at it. When they set up the kick saves time, says Hammer. Now, going back into their own half here. Another run from Arundel. Set from Henry Pollock. Passes on the outside to George Ford. This is once again the danger zone for this Welsh defence. Although going for a kick in behind from Marcus Smith does get shut down due to the interception, or at least the deflection, I should say. Bevan Rod pops it up to Curry. Now getting close to the try line once more. 10 metres out. Ben Spencer tries to pin his ears back. Create a bit of a gap round the sides. George Ford plays half, goes to Maru Atoje, shoveled on. Tom Curry goes to Ben Earl. Now here comes the try from Tommy Freeman. And he does eventually score it. 48 points to 7 now. What's your opinion, Hamish? Was it a penalty try? Yes. Oh, hang on. They're going like this now. They're checking something else. This could be another... Wait. There's a check for a neck roll here by the sounds of it. 16 white, Luke Cowan Dickey with the neck roll by the sounds of it. It's going to be a disallowed try. At least that's the way that it's sounding. Another try, if we're lucky, but it's well beyond competitive at this point. We're going to see the replay here. It's not the worst... Not the worst neck roll we've seen, but it is still round the neck. Knowing that the rest was reviewing everything, says zero connection. Well, I was unlucky then, says Pippins there. I don't even know why Plumtree is even on the field. Oh, Reece Sammet for that matter. To be fair to Reece Sammet, he's actually had a solid enough game on attack. Defensively, I haven't seen him make too many tackles so far, but attacking-wise, he's been one of the busier players for Wales. Hey, Hamish, how's it everyone? Says Philip, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. Currently 10 minutes remaining in this contest. And our rugby marathon has just about come to a close. I believe we're up to 12 hours from the last about 20 hours worth of being awake. In fact, it's actually, I believe, 12 hours from 18 hours. Isn't Super Rugby implementing the rule? In the event of a penalty try, it doesn't necessarily mean a yellow card. That is correct. They've got a few law changes that they are looking at for Super Rugby this season. It's not a neck roll. It's been cleared out. That's crazy, and I'm a Wales supporter. See, it starts raised now, moving it across field here. Arundel, it wasn't the best pass. Goes a bit too low. And it is now the Welsh line-out. Who's the ref? It is Pierre Brousset in charge of this one. And also Wales just need to try every 1.25 minutes to win. Sounds easy enough, doesn't it? Yeah, the bonus point I don't think is on the card for the Welsh here. That effing is so biased. Hope he never referees another international game. Effing says Phil Boy. And England versus France in Paris is going to be fireworks. Yeah, the fact that that's going to be in the last round, and hopefully at that stage those two sides are going to be undefeated. And how much longer have we got to go? Still another 9 minutes remaining in this fixture. It has felt like a marathon in itself with how one-sided the game has been. And it gets man of the weekend. Thanks for your awesome commentary non-stop. It's possible to score a try in 15 seconds, says Big Rig. A ref is who has never played a rugby in his life. Now Aaron Wainwright breaks off the back for the Welsh. Again, they haven't had a huge amount of possession in the last maybe about 15 minutes. There was a patch, though, early on in the second half where they were touching it quite often. Thomas Williams again, the box kick goes up. This one, it is just a matter of time until that full-time siren. But for now, we're going to see a prop kicking it. I think it was actually Davison who decided to boot it in behind for the Welsh, and it's turned out to be a pretty decent kick. Only 5 metres out from the try line now. Marcus Smith, though, breaking the line, getting through 2. Tries to pass it across, but it's going to be cleaned up by Mason Grady, who will try and run it back. 20 hours of watching rugby, is it not like driver's hours? You have to have a break every so often to stay legal. There are little breaks in between the sevens and whatnot that we have covered on the channel overall. But yeah, it's still been a lot of talking. And we've still got more coming up soon. In about 10 hours' time, we've got the sevens coming back. That's a good kick. Oh, no, never mind. It's out on the full. I thought it was going to be a 50-22 for Marcus Smith, but instead gives the chance to Wales inside of the English half. Thanks, there's Trojan there. And also the French will slaughter the English. There's Roger. And how was the sevens? The sevens was good overall. Semi-finals have all been confirmed. New Zealand versus Fiji for one. South Africa versus Australia for the other. Yeah, we'll be keeping a close eye on those ones and covering them on the channel. Nicely taken by Wales around the halfway line now. Can they get one more? They've already scored one in this contest. Perhaps the second could be just around the corner, or a counter interception try for the English could also be on the cards. In about an hour's time, the Irish under-20s are up against the French under-20s. Yeah, I don't think I'm still going to be awake during that game. Initially, when I was first doing my scheduling, I wanted to cover that game, but I think I underestimated how many hours I had beforehand. How's Marcus Smith here these days, says Hamish. Oh, sorry, says John. That's a bit high from Aaron Wainwright. That'll be another high shot penalty going the way of England, but his hair's looking like there's hardly one out of place at the moment. And the GB7 team is good, though. They managed to beat New Zealand. And yeah, looking forward to the under-20, says Sakabula there. Can't wait for you to cover the curling and hashtag 48 hours stream, says Xander. Now George Ford. One has gone into touch again. About 45 metres out for the line here it will be for England. Still time on the clock as well. Still can bring up that half century if they are able to get a converted try. Wales is performing like the French 15 years ago. I hope it doesn't take too long before they sort themselves out and can't have too many yellows. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They've had 4 in this game already, Wales, and they are currently playing with 13 on the park. George Ford passes one more. Here comes the pace of Henry Arundel. Passes to Tommy Freeman on the outside. Kicked him behind. Ben Spencer going for it. That's great work from Lewis Rees-Zammit to get back and cover it. Now goes for the drop kick as far downfield as he can. Oh, almost kicked it out on the full, but it stays in the field of play. Can you score a try every 30 seconds? Theoretically, you could, but it wouldn't be very easy to do. Definitely not up against this English defence. Arundel goes for the up and under. No one went for the ball except for him. Now Spencer, cross Marcus Smith, finds Ford, cross kick out to Henry Pollock. It was a bit of an awkward one. They've called it as back, but it looked like a knock on, but now running down the wing. Thomas Williams makes the tackle on him. 2 Lions teammates from last year. Chisholm plays half. Tom Curry, inside pass to Luke Cowan-Dickey. Now Spencer again tries to chip him behind. That's poor from him. He's just kicked it straight out on the full. And where did England cricket go after the Ashes series, says JD? They were up against... Who did they play? Sri Lanka, was it? They went up against. They are now in that T20 World Cup, of course. They are going to be playing tomorrow up against someone. Up against Nepal is their first game of the T20 World Cup. That one's going to be overthrown. Nicely taken by, oh my goodness, that's a terrible collision. It's a yellow card for Tom Curry. It was a cheap shot and a half. He's checking on the player, but Harry Deves got smashed off the ball, and Curry will be in the bin. And England not that impressive, to be honest, says Alistair. And why do Wales play so bad, says Mohadeen. There's more than one reason, I think, at the moment. But Harry Deves, they are just going to be checking on him to make sure that he doesn't need the HIA. How many cards in this game? There's been 6. 4 for Wales, 2 for England. And back up by Tom Curry, says Mike. And shocking discipline tonight. Yeah, I think both of these sides will look at their discipline and say that they need to improve it drastically. No support from the Welsh Rugby Reunion. Well, player of the match has gone to George Ford. So Arundel scores a hat-trick, but a lot of those assists came from Ford in that number 10 jersey. As Henry Curry's understudy. Says John. Not really, I don't think. I think that, of course, all of the loose forwards for the English will be keeping an eye on Henry Pollock, though. Trying to mould him into a future great. Now, rolling ball here. Off the back, Harry Deves. So he has recovered from that big shot. And curry in the bin is a waste of food, says Brown Bear. My sense of humour is so childish, but I like that one. 3.5 minutes left. We have got another donation. That is from Big Rig. Thank you very much, mate. Swing low, sweet chariot. Thank you for all your great commentary tonight, Hamish. Says, was Big Rig there? But yeah, hopefully we see a few of you guys for the sevens. I will say it right now. My eyes are starting to get a little bit tired. After being up for 24 hours and over 12 hours of streaming, it has finally started to hit me. I'm gassed just watching this. Says Eric. And far cry from a 70-0 South Africa gave Wales. Now there's your measuring stick for you. Says Roger. Is it though? I feel like it's different, but if that's the one you want to base it off, I guess you can. And I'm sure people will. And now Lewis Rees-Zammit going away to the side, chipping it in behind. Oh no, he's kicked that one straight out on the full again here. And also we're good there, have another swig of the vodka. Says Ruby. Now 2.5 minutes remaining. And that is the yellow card, or the 2 yellow cards expiring now for the Welsh. Welshans versus 15th, 16th ranked. Says Inquisitor and gutted for Azza, missing these games. Says 9-8. I assume that's Gazza, is it? Rather than Azza. And should have swung more at the Ashes series and sing louder for the Armies. Right, now rolling ball again set up here for England. George Ford has got himself man of the match, so something that would really put the crown on that is if he was able to score here. Dingwall now hits it up. Spencer plays the ball, has Deves all over him, and it is another penalty to England now. Oh, a little bit of off the ball pushing between Deves and Pollock. We have good there, so will Ireland beat England in London? I think they'll struggle. The Irish. It wasn't that long ago that Wales were number 1 in the world, and with a better win rate than the All Blacks. One's kicked it a Dutch 15 metres out from the line now. Last attack of this game. 79 minutes through. A game that's going to feel like years for the Welsh. Has South Africa ever won a Fair Play Award? I must remember that was the last game of a heavy tour for South Africa, says Roger. And also a very different Welsh team than we are seeing playing in this contest too. Oh, there's a big cheer. Why is there a big cheer? I assume there's probably a streaker of some sort. Or maybe a pitch invader. Referee's blowing his whistle here. Oh, waiting for a substitution is what they went with. Great commentary ad, as usual, Hamish. You need to come to South Africa and teach these Bok guys something, says John. England played badly in the second half, especially if you consider Wales with 13 men. And I'm ready for the days 2 of the 7s. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. See what happens there. The 2 semi-finals. Going to be hopefully very competitive. Now Luke Cowan-Dickie still with a minute left. And Super starting next weekend. Yeah, it's going to be hectic. The fact that there is 7s next weekend too. Now told to use it. Go on short side. Tommy Freeman. Oh, that's disrespectful. He shouldn't have had any chance of running over the try line. He's run through about 4 Welshmen down the short side with a metre next to him and has still finished it off. I really appreciate you doing these, Hamish, says Inquisitor. Will you do a KFC mukbang live? Says Peps Box. Maybe one day we'll do a KFC mukbang. KFC's expensive nowadays, though. It's gone up in price here in New Zealand. The mukbang, you normally want a lot of food, don't you? Luke Cowan-Dickie, there's Tommy Freeman breaks through 3 tackles to still score down the short side. And now that's a great finish from Freeman. Worked very hard to make that one. I'm mad at KFC right now, says Big Rick. Why are you mad? They've got my popcorn chicken. That is something that would make me mad as well, to be fair. Currently 80 minutes has just ticked over, so George Ford will have the last kicking chance of this game. Sitting 5 from 6 at the moment. And he does hit the post. It bounces back out. So it won't be the 50 for the English, but it will be 48 points to 7, the win over the Welsh. Six Nations off to a scrappy start, says the Jungle Crab. Yeah, I'd have to say game of the round so far has been probably that match between Scotland and Italy, just for its closeness. The other two games pretty one-sided. Thanks, Hamish and all, not the game I was hoping for, but English far too much. Physical dominance and forward dictating the game. Well done, says Studs Race. A Wales game, just say goodbye and go home, says Mohadeen. AKC a few weeks ago, and that didn't cost much. Says, what's up, guys? And they've completely embarrassed Wales, and Will O'Rourke clears his fraud name, Kyle Jamieson. Thanks for the commentary, Hamish. My wife says you'd be a great caller and an auction buddy. That one has been said before, and also a horse racing commentator has been talked about as well. But I'd love to be an auctioneer just to sell one thing, even if it's just like a pen, and then that would probably be me retiring from it. A proper thrashing, says Mike, and thanks for the great commentary. Go get some sleep, says Hammer. So yeah, we will get those next live streams scheduled in the relatively near future for the sevens that are taking place. Currently, we've got 3 matches planned just at this point in time. They'll be New Zealand versus France in the women's semi-final, taking place at around 5 p.m. New Zealand time. Then from there, 2 other sevens semi-finals. First one is New Zealand versus Fiji. Second is South Africa versus Australia. Drink water, stay hydrated, says Big Rig. Yeah, we'll certainly have to have quite a few drinks in the near future to try and keep the voice alive for later on. And also, thank you, Mr. Hamish. Great evening, folks, says JD. And England were okayish. Wales were abysmal, says Alistair. But yeah, be interested to see what happens from here now for these sides in the Six Nations. Will it be the teams that were dominant in their first round? Will they go on to continue that dominance, or will it be the underdog sides who have suffered the losses in the first round who now bounce back in round number 2? But we will be covering round 2 of the Six Nations on the channel alongside Super Rugby in the near future as well. So be sure to check that out, as well as the sevens today, like I mentioned, or tomorrow if you guys are in the UK. But thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all for the next one.